Welcome and happy Saturday for the second time today. Earlier today, I wish you happy Saturday because it was our very first Patreon membership streams. It went very well, better than I thought, longer than I thought, but everybody was having fun, so we went with it. Sorry for the lateness. I just came from the top of my roof where my air conditioner guy is working to fix my air conditioner right now. So one of two things happen. You see me, like a lot of times you'll see me talking to somebody, a customer, but if you see me talking technical with air conditioning things, that's him right there, or whatever. Or if you see the power go out, if the power goes out, that means he needs to shut the power off to test some stuff. So at that point, my wingman, Brad, will take over for me until you see me pop back up. Hopefully he's got everything he needs without having to turn the power off, but just a word of warning. This has been a wild last 7 days, last 10 days. You figure that hurricane-like weather we had that pretty much ruined everything for me, flooded the house, flooded the store a little bit, is the cause for the air conditioner going out because something got shorted out up there. So yeah, we're having all kinds of fun here. I mean, out of the frying pan and into whatever. Today is Saturday, September 9th, 9:12 p.m. We got a lot to talk about. Not all of it was covered by my thumbnail. I actually forgot to add the two Godzilla things that we got. We got two since last we spoke. We got two brand new Godzilla type trailers since we've had a chance to talk about it. One from Toho's Godzilla -1, and the other one from the Monarch TV series that's happening on Apple. Both of them look amazing. I mean, if you're a Godzilla fan, even if you're one of the ones that prefers Legendary or prefers Toho over the other, I think you got two amazing trailers. I don't know if I can show them, but we're definitely going to, me and Brad are definitely going to talk about it. So without further ado, let me bring in the artist formerly known as Echo, but he's sounding great now. How are you doing, Brad? Sorry for the lateness of the link. I literally was on the roof when you texted.
No worries. And actually, before we get started tonight, probably one thing we should mention up front is, if you were following the stream last week, is that it with AEW and CM Punk, it was not a work.
Boy, and they, in some of the stuff that's come out, listen, I love the Young Bucks. I think they're one of the greatest tag teams of their generation. I think they're one of the best innovators of their generation. And as far as I know, they're good people. And people are telling me that, well, they're not EVPs, just a name only. That's bullshit because it doesn't matter. EVP's EVP. You're the founding members of the company. You got to set a better example than what they're setting. I'm sorry. And them not wanting to meet with CM Punk, even if you weren't the decision maker and Tony Khan has taken all that away, you are still the guiding light. You are the examples. You are the pace setters. It's going to go as you go. And like I said, I can still love those guys, and I think the world of Kenny Omega, but still think that they fucked this up.
It's still. I mean, the whole thing was like I was in fear for my life or whatever the whole spiel was. It's like, yeah.
and like I said, maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe off camera, CM Punk put him in a headlock. I don't know. But here's the thing about that is they created that environment. And then Mark Henry put out a cryptic tweet saying, I guess everything's okay. Now won't be any more problems now that the problem's gone. And he did it sarcastically, which means now Mark Henry is inside that locker room. I'm not. None of these fanboys are. None of these marks are. Most of these press guys who have a lot of information, most of those guys are not in the locker. Mark Henry works for AEW. He's in there. So for him to make a sarcastic statement like that tells me that CM Punk may not have been the only issue. And there's no way he could have been. There's a lot of egos in there. Like I said, a lot of it's deserved, but when you put that many egos together, I mean, you have to understand that you have to have the mentality as the person running the show to corral all that. And if you don't, you're going to end up with a powder cake situation. Getting rid of CM Punk is not going to solve that. If the issue is systemic, one guy is not solving that. I don't care how much you want to tweet that the locker room's great now, we're all feeling good. Yeah, until the next time. So there you go. I agree with you. Numbers. What a time to be a kaiju fan.
We got stuff to say on this, and it's all good.
I really want to play these trailers, but I'm so afraid I don't want to get kicked off of the internet.
Yeah, we had we were fortunate with when we did the Rebel Moon trailer breakdown. That was like a whole stream. So but yeah, so you want to do like roll the dice on two trailers, that's a little bit, be a little bit nervous about that.
Especially two of them get double banned because by the time I got on with Rebel Moon, Netflix had already put their thing in to say it's okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they had already put their thing in. Some people got kicked off, but it was immediately, they got back on immediately right during their stream. So, but man, these trailers are awesome. I wish I could play them. But I just don't feel like getting kicked off, especially on the Saturday show, because it takes a lot to get back on. All right, so the topics for this week, we're gonna talk the writer strike, and just it keeps like a ball of lint, just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. Some of the, I'll let you do most of the syntax on that. Our album cover of the week, and our album of the week is Pink Floyd's The Wall. For me, this was definitive Pink Floyd. It is, to me, and I know a lot of people are going to think differently, it is the best Pink Floyd release. A lot of that is because a lot of people who were alive when Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here was released. I was not born when Dark Side of the Moon came out, and I was only 1 year old when Wish You Were Here came out, and I never really connected. By the time I was in kindergarten and first grade, you could not turn your head anywhere and hear, "Teacher, leave those kids alone." I knew that song before I knew what Pink Floyd was. That song was ingrained into my psyche before I knew, who Roger Waters was, who Dave, Gilmour was, who Sid was. I mean, all these guys. I did not know who they were. I was like 5 or 6, maybe 7, and that song was their first hit that crossed over into different genres. Everything else they had done prior to that was rock, AM, gold, radio, things like that. So we're going to cover what Pink Floyd, and that movie was awesome. We're going to talk Ahsoka, even though, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Rebels. I have no real use for Rebels, and maybe that's to my detriment because it might be hurting my enjoyment. But I'm enjoying Ahsoka. I mean, as much as I can, and I'm definitely enjoying Shin Hati, or whatever her name is. I pronounce it. I've heard 5 different ways of pronouncing it, but she's played by a Ukrainian actress, and I'm waiting for her to either turn on the light side or she's got to die. She's put on such a good performance in the brief time she has. She has 1 or 2 fates. She either turns to the light, turns on her master, or she's got to get split in half. I'm sorry. That's how good she's done. And our comic book turning point storyline is going to be issues 1 through 8 of the Sandman, which were very, very pivotal. It really changed the psyche as far as the way us kids, us 14, 15, 16-year-olds and older, were buying comics in the late 80s, early 90s, and it paved the way for what would become Vertigo, and that paved the way for what would become DC Black Label. And it's the first front of it. It's the collectively known as Preludes and Nocturnes, and you really don't have to be familiar with the comic if you watched the Netflix show, which ultimately led to people buying the comic more, which much to my delight. And now they've and I have book 1, but book 2 is more closer to me. This is book 2. This is the immediate ones that follow it afterwards. And now everything is, which was Vertigo, is DC Black Label. And now you have the little Netflix logo on there. So they've made their claim to it. So it's been very influential, not just in the way buying habits went on, but in a major TV show that was a major success. So where do we want to start? I can just start with this. Let's get the strike out of the way.
Yeah, there was so for anybody's hasn't been following, there was the latest of it. I mean, there was within the last few days there was talk about Zaslav had mentioned in like a board meeting or something that WBD is set to take a hit of like $300 to $500 million this year because of the strike, and that Williams probably got kind of a better sort of finger on the pulse in terms of financials than I do on that. But then we got this letter that came out from WGA talking about in a nutshell, basically there was maybe some discussion about each of the major studios like forming a new contract with AMPTP individually. Then we had this Deadline article just drop the other day where they were pushing back on that, saying the AMPT, all the studios are aligned in that. So apparently that's not going to be a solution. So I don't know kind of what the overall thoughts on that are, but I mean, to me, it sounds like, we're just in the same spot we were a week ago in terms of the strike.
Sounds like a lot of lying going on.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, WB is going to take a $300 to $500 or $500 million hit. That I do not dispute. That I don't think is a lie. What I am skeptical of is not all that's going to come from the strike. A lot of that comes from mismanagement of, because in the same week they're telling you about this grand plan that they have for their comic book IPs, and they want to get a plan going. I'm like, didn't you get that going when you hired James Gunn?
I saw you were talking about that the other night, and where the soundbite Zaslav gave, where it's like DC, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter have been underutilized. We want to really kick those into high gear, and it's, as far as DC goes, that's the same thing I was asking. Is like, wasn't that the whole point of this whole 10-year plan thing? And then, as a lot of people point out with Potter and Lord of the Rings, it's like you've adapted all the books already, so it's like, what are you talking about? They're underutilized.
Yeah, what gear are we in with DC if we're not in? What gear was James Gunn? But a lot of that has been mismanagement of the IPs. The strike is hurting them. I don't doubt that. But I also doubt that it's an amalgam of mismanagement of the major IPs to this point, not utilizing them properly and not utilizing them enough, and then not taking what we had to begin with, which you walked into, and trying to squeeze as much money out of that potential, and they just didn't do that.
Yeah, that's the irony, is like, we would agree, talking about it's been underutilized just from a very different angle.
Yeah, and now we're talking about, what they spent on the movies that they rolled out as far as DC goes, and there was no plan there. There was no plan to strengthen Blue Beetles. There was no plan to strengthen Aquaman. There was no plan to strengthen any of these things that they had coming out. No plan to strengthen Shazam. Nothing. No support network to put those movies out.
Other than the Flash, with them, doing as many release shows as they did, and just hyping that. I mean, again, that wasn't for lack of trying, but again, we can go back to the fact. Exactly, you can go back to the fact that it's like, well, you pulled the rug out from under it when you said we're rebooting.
Yeah, everything that was supposed to make the splash. See, and one thing that people don't realize, the Flash wasn't supposed to be the end-all, be-all of anything. People are like, well, the Flash failed, or the Shazam failed, or it's Black Adam failed. That tells you that they need a reboot. No, that tells you that you guys fucked up, is what it shows you. It shows you that fanboy logic, you cannot run a business on it. And I'm not knocking fans. That's my bread and butter. I love fans. I like fanboy logic. I partake in fanboy logic. I don't run my business on fanboy logic, and no one else should.
And well, go ahead.
When you're looking at next up mentality, as far as, well, if the Aquaman or this movie doesn't do it, then that means the DCU is dead. No, that just means you never put the damn toy together the right way. You're the idiot reading the IKEA instructions, and you just can't put that table together. That doesn't mean that the table is bad. That just means that there's clowns messing around with the screwdrivers and the nuts and the bolts. So the Flash, yes, he's a Justice League. Yes, he's founding Justice League member. Yes, he's up there. But he's on the team, but he's not the quarterback. He's not the Tom Brady. He's not Rob Gronkowski. He's that linebacker that you need to win, but he ain't the one that you're paying the ticket for. When I buy an NFL ticket, if I'm coming from New England, I was paying to see Tom Brady all those years. And the same thing when I go to KC, and I'm that my MVP is Patrick Mahomes. I don't even know who the outside lineman is. Don't know. I need him, but he's not while I'm buying the ticket. In the Flash, he's on the team. He's on the bench, but he's not 1A and 1A. He's not that.
And to go off of that, I mean, of course, he had such a Flash and all the JL characters. They had such a breakout moment of redemption when ZSJL released that WB. Then 4 days later, it came out and took the lids out from under. So you think about it, it's like you remove that from it. You remove the DCU plan announcement from the news cycle of that, and then then you just wonder, it's like, how much, if they had actually put if they really tried to push behind, let's say, the real Justice League movies coming out, we're actually really going to push this and instead of try to undermine it, it's like, how much better position these movies would be at this point.
Yeah, the Flash was supposed to be a player in the overall mosaic. He was not supposed to be the entire picture, and that's what a lot of fans are like, well, the Flash bombed. Okay, so tell you what, if you have an aircraft carrier, I'm a jet on your aircraft carrier. I take off. I take off. I'm on my jet. I go do my job, bomb, whatever. I come back and the aircraft carrier is moved out of my range to land. It's going to happen to that plane. It's going to run out of fuel. It's going to go to the bottom of the ocean. Going to lose a $50 million plane or possibly more because of you didn't have your main thing in there. All these subsidiary things are not going to bring it home.
Yeah, and to go off of that, anybody, if you hadn't seen the Patreon stream that we did a few hours ago, I also mentioned on there was a little bit of a this sort of pertains to the strike. I mean, in the sense that it relates to what's going to happen if they actually were to crack open the books on the streaming numbers. There was a report from a Hollywood Handle on Twitter mentioning the Black Adam thus far in 2023 is the biggest is the most streamed movie on. I'm going to keep calling it HBO Max just like you. But it's but we mentioned that on the Patreon stream, and it's a question I asked you offline, but it's one where I think worth thinking about is when in the streaming age when each studio is trying to set up their own platform, and as you've said, it's like they're setting their streaming dates like before the thing has even hit theaters, and it's within 2 months of when it comes out, no matter how well it does. So yeah, when you're talking about painting like the whole picture of the totality of a movie's success or failure, I'm wondering. I think it's pertinent to ask at this point. Is theatrical and streaming is that kind of more of a package deal now?
Yes, I have no doubt. And like I said, people who go to the box office and are just regular moviegoers and pundits, they don't want to say that out loud. But if you're the person who's doing the selling, this Coke is your product. Where I sell it doesn't matter. Well, it matters to me, but me selling it right to you, and I have to split it with. So, say if I have an employee here, you pay $10 for this Coke, and I get
the best damn Coke in the world.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm just I get $3 out of it. He gets $3 out of it. My landlord gets $3 out of it. And then at the end of the day, and then if I borrowed the money to get all this going, they get their payback plus interest, right? So now this $10 Coke, I'm not getting that much out of it. And the longer it sits here, right here, then I'm talking about, making that same percentage of money for a lot longer. But now if I take this out of the store and I take it to my house and I sell it from my front yard, and there's no overhead, there's no, person I have to pay out. There's no, I've already paid back that person their money. And now the money I'm making at my house is 70 to 80%. Maybe I have to pay a little bit, in taxes or whatever, but I'm now making 80% instead of 50% and 75%. My percentage goes up. Now I take that inside the house. I don't have to deal with the, selling anything with public fees like that. I take that inside the house and I sell it there. And now I'm getting, I put it inside the house. I'm getting 100%. Every time you move the product away from where there's more people to take their dividends out of it, your profit margin increases. So I truly believe that when they greenlight these movies, in some cases, they have a streaming date in mind. I think that some of these movies that are going to be coming out are not even going to get greenlit unless they think they can make a good bulk of their money on PVOD and streaming. That's just the way it is,
Yeah, but we mentioned, as I mentioned, because we brought that up during the Patreon stream, and it relates to the strike in the sense that, the studios, obviously, AMPTV, they're just being very bullish about returning to the table and giving SAG and WGA what they're asking for, and it's a point I raised on the previous stream, and I'm still very bullish on this myself, and I think Black Adam, the reports on the streaming performance play into this. Is that when are we going to get to that point in the strike where it's like you talked about a federal mediator? It's like, okay, what happens when they say, okay, we got to crack open the books, show us how these things are doing, and what money goes to who, and how that performance, how the financials of that is going to, as you've said, it's like, it's going to pull back the curtain on a lot of the, I've said lack of transparency. You just say lies on it.
They're lying.
But, yeah,
they're lying. When I hear a streamer or studio saying, our streaming revenue is down or all that, and then people on YouTube and on Twitter eat it up. Oh, the streaming area is dead. Oh my goodness. Everybody go back to the theaters. Come on. Why don't you just take a shovel and dump the bullshit on top of my head while I'm live on air? That's how much that means. They're lying. Okay. If they weren't lying and they were losing all this money on streaming, this strike would be over, because you would be able to open up the books and make that case and say, we can't do this. We can't give you this increase because we don't have it. And that would be it. But they're not going to do that.
Yeah, well, and in fact, like I'd mentioned a couple of weeks ago, like one of the offers they had put to WGA was, okay, we'll let you have like a select number of people from the union see limited streaming data that they are then not permitted to report to the relevant parties that streaming data concerns.
Yeah, they're basically saying, come into the office and let's sit and look at Samba.
Yeah,
exactly. We're giving you the same limited garbage that we're giving.
We're limiting the people who can see the streaming data. We're limiting the data they're permitted to see, and we're forbidding them from passing that data on to the people that data concerns.
Yeah, but people take that and like I said, the information gets used a bunch of different ways, because, like I said, if you're against certain genres of movies, you can say, well, Zack Snyder's Justice League didn't do anything, which was we should know by now. We should have enough common sense to know that wasn't true.
Well, I mean, if there's any, I was going to say, if there's any WB movie that they have been incentivized to downplay the performance of, it's that.
Yeah, and like I said, or they'll upplay things to get leverage and stuff like that. And to me, you're a publicly traded company, so I really need to know, if I'm looking to buy your stock, or if I have your stock, I need to know
why I'm not getting the most bang for my buck out of it when I should be.
And like I said, they're and they will never open up these books. Trust me. That's when the producers and the production companies and the studios will be like, okay, let's come to the table. That's where you're going to see movement, because they're never going to give that. They cannot give that up. They give that up. They not only do they lose money, they lose leverage in negotiations. They lose leverage in the perception of their product. Like I said, I hate to bang on Peacemaker because I enjoyed the show, but they can shovel garbage into my mouth about how Peacemaker was the greatest thing since, Raiders of the Lost Ark or something like that. And yeah, I'm not saying that the numbers are bad, but if once those numbers are out there, I can't use that as a weapon to say, well, we don't need this, or we don't need to go down this road because this did so well, and this is the trend that tells us that we don't need this. That's BS.
And yeah,
first of all, you're lying. Second of all, even if the trend is good, it doesn't mean that it's good enough to exclude something else. And if you never tell me the numbers, all you have to do is tell me, well, we don't need another Superman movie. We got John Cena and Peacemaker. And I would look at you like you're a fucking fool, but they can pour that to people in the general public, and for some reason, people buy it.
Yeah, and
like that, everybody who's telling me Peacemaker's doing great, it's a hit. Based on what? With the whole reason why we're here is because they got numbers that they're not going to show us or the WGA or SAG-AFTRA. So how do you guys know
they're not going to show it unless they are put in a position where they have to show it?
No, they're forced to. And like I said, just like the baseball strike, just like, thank you, Jorge Betancourt, for following. Just like the baseball strike, when it came push to shove, to, well, we're gonna come in where you can lose your antitrust exemption. And then antitrust means the books are open no matter what. That's when the owners caved. Every 3 straight collective bargaining agreements in a row, they caved because they do not want to give up those numbers. They want to negotiate based on the numbers that they're front facing and leaning. So, and that's the NFL, that's in Major League Baseball, that's every major corporation.
Wayne, can you pull up this one comment that Fourth has here about Black Adam's viewership on Max? Yeah, because I do want to kind of place a little bit of context to what I'm saying.
How you doing, Forrest? That was
a
mistake, not a joke. Okay. Oh wow, hold on. Let me get. I'm like behind in the chat. Sorry to ignore you guys. Hold on.
No worries. Yeah, his should be probably pretty close down to the latest comments.
I'm gonna hit this one first though. Peacemaker was a hit successful based on the numbers of HBO Max. Okay, I'm sorry. I love you, man, and I understand where you're coming from. This pretty much dies on its own weight by numbers on the numbers provided, HBO Max provided at the time and discussed publicly. I don't give a fuck what they're telling me. What have they been truthful?
They're telling me what they want to tell me.
At earning calls, they touted that it was a hit. That's the public info we got to go off of. I understand that. I'm not disputing what you're saying, but they're lying, dude. They're hiding so much money and they're greedy. They're not giving up anything. They don't want to give up 2%. They don't want to give up 5%.
I mean, for all we know, Peacemaker did better than they're suggesting, and James Gunn's getting cheated out of residuals.
Exactly. And his actors are probably getting screwed. Who knows? I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm not going on based on anything that any studio tells me, good or bad, because without context, they can inflate or they can deflate. And I'm just using Peacemaker as an example because, like I said, they did that because the guys who made the decision to greenlight Peacemaker before anybody saw it and before anybody saw the Suicide Squad, their jobs were on the line. They're gone now, but their jobs are on the line because they had to justify the course that they took. They took a course away from the A-listers and went with D-listers. So, of course, they're going to tell you that everything is great. They have to. It better be, because if I'm spending the money on it, if you're spending my shareholder money on it, you better be telling me something and have something to show for it. Unfortunately, like I said, and then the earnings call is to the general public. Now, there's a lot of stuff you can do with earning calls. And I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Is this one you're hitting at?
Yeah. So this is Black Adam had 1.2 and nothing bragging, but what if you? Okay. So first point, the 1.2 million viewers figure, that's a partial figure because that's like first 3 days, something like that. And that's also provided by Samba, which is only partial data anyway, because they're only measured by smart TVs and things like that. So that's a fraction of just the opening weekend streaming data on its own. So that's only a partial picture there. And then what I was referencing earlier was Hollywood Handle reported it's Max's number one streaming title for 2023. There's no viewership figure on that, which again, it's like, that's where I say, okay, show us those numbers then. And if it's doing that well, why are we not getting more of it?
Exactly. And I need comparison numbers. I need comp numbers. I need all that stuff. So, all right.
But as I said, that, you're RJ here again.
Yeah. Streaming as a whole is a bust. I don't believe this, but okay. It truly ruined the industry. Oh, for who though? They are the industry. See, this is the cool thing. And they're very good at this. They are the industry. They're not screwing themselves. They're just moving the money closer to them is what they're doing. Ruin the industry. We need to get back to strictly video on demand model where we can buy content instead of it being bunched up on stuff on one subscription. That's never happening. I mean, I can agree with that because it's going to eventually become so expensive that you have to get into these tiers in order to get your. But I don't think that genie's too fat and he's not going in the bottle. So I can agree with that, RJ. But yeah, all right. At least that way you can measure purchases and it's far more transparent for the residual. Compensation. Now I agree with RJ 100%. I agree. But these guys are not doing that. Why? Because I repeat, they're lying.
And that's actually a question I've had. I'm glad you brought that up, RJ, because. When it talks about home media, not streaming, but like home media sales, like Blu-ray, DVD, things like that, those numbers get reported on, things like the numbers, box office and things like that. I've never, unless I'm missing something, I've never seen any kind of comprehensive data come out saying like, like this big hit, it's like it did like where you have to go and, pay for it, digital download, on iTunes, Amazon, Voodoo, all that. It's like this is how much it earned on that, the same way they do with DVD and Blu-ray. And that's something I'm wondering, okay, why are we not getting those numbers? And there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah. And all we're doing, and even Fourth brought, I'm going to go down to Fourth too, because he's bringing up his statistic. But like I said, I can't. We're guessing, and without when we're all guessing, and they know. See, they know what we're speculating about. All right, word question. This is not a word question. I get this all the time. William, have you ever had a heart attack? Yes, I have. And I thought it was all going to end for me there going to Las Vegas. Is it still, I ate there when it first opened up because I knew a girl that worked there. The waitresses are dressed up as nurse, and they have a heart attack burger that has everything in it that you've been spent your whole life being told that too much of this could kill you. And it's enough of it in that burger. We brought it up one time on a stream on that date on it. It's it's bigger than anything I've had. It's big, it's flat, it's greasy. They make sure it's greasy. They are not trying to hide the health risk to it. One guy actually had a heart attack there. He had issues anyway, but I mean, he got a heart attack at the heart attack burger. You can feel that grease burning through your system. But it's good. And if you do, and if it's still open, I don't even know if it's still.
By the way, I misread this question initially. I thought I read it first as saying like, it was asking you if you ever had a heart attack instead of a restaurant.
Oh no. He's talking about the heart attack grill, and like I said, just Google them. You'll see why it's called that. That burger, you can see the death dripping from that burger. All right. So let's translate Black Adam max viewers to box office, $15 per view. Let's say Black Adam got 2 million views, 30 million. That ain't good when you factor the budget. I agree 100%.
No, we do need the VOD numbers, but it's like we also need the max numbers.
You need the max numbers because here's the thing about the max, and this is where I maybe before in my 90s, I'm going to get this point across. Collective value and collective advantage. We can no longer think dollar per dollar. So I spent 200 million on a movie. Back in the prehistoric times, I got to make all that back. I got to find a way to make all that back. I got to pay everybody back, and I got to come out ahead right there and then before it leaves the theaters, right? That's the old Cro-Mag, pick up the bone, throw it into the sky way of thinking, the way it used to be. But like I said, I don't stop counting what I'm making off of this soda until the counting is done, until the money is not being made. They're not thinking about it that way. So is another factor, and we brought this up at the Patreon stream, is retention. Everybody, and Rhea brought up a bunch of good analytic things that she brought up. But the one thing that I had to add in there was retention. Retention leads to stability. Consistency leads to stock prices, stock value going up, and that allows you justification to go do these big things. Because guess what? Your lender is in the room, and if he knows at some point, be in that line that soda is making it through those financial fire hoops, that he's going to make his money back plus some. Because the last stop that this thing goes is on TV, and ad revenue. I've paid ad revenue for fucking TNT and Cox Cable because I have a demographic at one time that was right on what they wanted. I want my commercials at some point was when I was showing you through something that's going to be people buying from me, and they're expensive and they're getting them. There are times when you buy ad revenue from Cox Cable or any of these other cable companies that's blacked out, and theirs is a super expensive one because somebody has that money, somebody's paying that ad revenue. So Aquaman 3 is going to suck, right? But they're going to slap it right on before the Lakers versus Knicks or right afterwards on the East Coast.
And you also mentioned during the Patreon stream, you thought, and you said this previously, you also talked about like the value, what value individual titles bring in terms of how they connect to associated content, which I mean, like a good analogy is like someone goes on HBO Max, watches Zack Snyder's Justice League. Does that lead into the Batman? Does that lead them to Harley Quinn? Does that lead them to Joker? Does it lead to the Flash? And it's like if it's providing a conduit for all these other tangentially or directly connected titles, then it's like then you can sense what value that provides to your platform.
Exactly, which is what should have been done with Zack Snyder's Justice League, but they screwed that up. But here's the flip side of that too. There's two sides of that benefits them because now they can justify, they know where to spend their money at. If you thought that this boneheaded superhero thing that no one was watching, and all of a sudden you add in this and everybody's watching it now, guess what? You can make a lot of interdependency on hey, come here, David. Hey, listen, you guys need to meet this guy.
And we got a customer tonight.
No, it's not a customer.
Oh, okay.
That shirt say. See that shirt says?
Sister Kim's.
Sister Kim's. This is all that food. Did you guys see me making, or that you see me eating, and you see me opening the box on there? He's behind the griddle. He's making it. So I got about 20, 30 pounds because of him. But if you're in Vegas, you guys see my commercials. If you're in Vegas, you got to go to Sister Kim's, get the loaded fries, get the double cheeseburger. He's the one making it, and I swear by this man's food. I came today when I was up on the rock. Came down, got my food today before I started the show. Sometimes I'm late for the show because I'm down there getting Sister Kim's food. Yep. Twice a day. I was their first customer, and they went from being the little food truck out here, and we got him in. So this is David. He's the guy who makes all that stuff you see, all the menu. When you see me show the menu, that's him. So say hi to David, and when you're in Vegas,
nice man,
come down to Sister Kim's.
All right.
Hey, I got to get with you on. I got to get with you on some stuff we need to do down in the court ride.
That came because I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, but we'll get together beginning the next 2 weeks. Every weekend we got to have something. All right, man. Made me hungry already, but I got the food here already, so it's not like I'm without Sister Kim's. I have a fish and shrimp po' boy. But yeah, okay. So that associated content goes both ways because what it does, right, is if you're using it right and you're not shady mofos like these guys are, you're using it to augment things and greenlight projects that may have necessarily on their own be greenlightable. But at the other end, if you're not properly compensating your writers and your actors and stuff like that, they can use those numbers too and say, well, hell, this product that you have, and that's why a lot of stuff got taken off of HBO Max and a lot of these streaming services because they didn't want to pay residuals.
Oh yeah.
So
Disney Plus, they went through like a real purge.
Yeah, it goes both ways. So yeah, we need to see the numbers and plus associated content. And like I was saying to the Patreon stream, I love referring to this stream because I thought it was going to be a half-hour stream. It ended up being an epic, but it was a good one. But we need to see those analytics, and because I know for a fact that the previous regime was not paying attention to them in the way that they were, because I'm sorry, there are certain movies that just don't get made if they are, or they don't get made when they are made. They are made within a structure of you could not have looked at those numbers and seen that you did not need Superman and Batman, a connected Superman and Batman. And I'm not talking about the Batman, because like I said, not only do these people want money, they want volume.
Yeah.
All right. They want volume. So
that kind of that's sort of the strike update for the time. So again, it's like, I think in terms of like where negotiations stand, it's like, again, it's more or less where it was, like, but I think you think it's like it's even getting like even you think the heat is dialing up, or it's getting more contentious, or where I don't think we're closer to have light at the end of the tunnel, but yeah, where would you kind of put the pulse on it right now?
Dead. Yeah, because once again, they haven't reached the threshold that I think they need to. There's no legal way, and like I said, when you have the Writers Guild and saying that we need to strike separate deals, I don't know if they did that, is that going to solve the problem?
That's what I was thinking too, because it's like, because then when SAG-WJ when their contract needs to be renewed, like 3-5 years down the line, it's like, each studio, it's like they have their own terms they're going to have that aren't going to match up with each other. So then you're just like, you're going to end up right back in the situation we are right now.
You're going to end up in court because that literally defeats. It's collective bargaining. That's not just for the collective union. That's the collective organization that represents. So if you break that up, you basically just destroyed and your viability. And the producers, they can't let that happen any more than the Writers Guild can allow things to happen outside the strike. Once you lose your solidarity, you lose your leverage, you lose your strength. So that I understand why they would ask that, but yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And like I said, they got to stop lying for one, or at the very worst, stop thinking that we're just dummies and that the actors are dummies and the Writers Guild are dummies. I mean, and stop making these offers that are just like, well, did you say that with a straight face offer?
Oh, like I keep saying, they just keep saying the quiet part loud.
Yeah, because they know that there's currently no consequences. Them losing $300 to $500 million is, that's a lot of money. I understand, but they stand to lose a lot more if they let the actors and the writers in their into their money pit. It's cool if I'm in it's like Sopranos, where Tony and them are in there. They're at Bada Bing, right? And they're in there counting the money. The captains are counting the money, but the associates, the little guys and the strippers, they're outside of that locked door. Because if you let them in, they're gonna be like, "Well, wow, this organization making a lot of money. I want my kick out." So we're not gonna do that. Trust me, the tenement, greed means greed. It means you don't ever let anybody know how much money you have, because now they know where to hit you at.
Well, let me ask you this, because there was, I think, right before the SAG strike started, there was a talk by the Biden administration that potentially having a federal mediator step in to solve that situation. Didn't happen, but what odds, or how likely do you think it is that this is going to end up, that a federal mediator is going to be necessary to end it?
It's going to be a long way, because there's a lot of hesitancy. See, the reason why you come up with, in any way, no matter what the union is, the reason why you come up with collective bargaining and antitrust things is that the courts don't want to deal with it. It is, these things are designed to keep it out of the courts. So that's why when you see people suing things, a lot of times the courts will kick it back to the collective bargaining, because the whole reason you guys created this was to keep us out of it and to not eat up court time and trials and stupid stuff like this. That's why you have antitrust agreements and stuff like that. That's why, they don't have to report their books. But once again, that relies on both sides negotiating in good faith. If it comes to the point where you're not negotiating in good faith and things aren't moving, and now where politicians get involved, like if I'm a senator or a congressman in California, I'm definitely going to get involved because my constituents are being hurt. If I am in New York, if I'm in a place where the movie industry is being filmed or being used as property, or property taxes and all these benefits, and if I'm anywhere in America where this strike is hurting me financially, I am lawfully obligated as a representative, as an elected representative representing the public, to convene on this. And Congress can call hearings.
Yeah.
Congress can subpoena both sides and say, we need to know where you're at, because our constituents are asking us when this is going to be over. If I'm in California and I'm a congressman in my district, Hollywood is my district, I need to be able to come back to them to figure out what's going on. Because guess what? In your studios, you guys have, and you're in my state, if you're in Georgia or you're in Carolina, and I ushered in a tax break for you so that you could film there and all this, I need to know why my people are not, they're not working, why I'm being hurt. And you're going to, when you come back, you're going to be okay.
Well, when I mentioned this on the Patreon stream, this is one particular example. It's Georgia, has the big tax credit for film productions, like Marvel. They do damn near everything in Atlanta. They love Atlanta. I mean, I would imagine probably the bulk of like the principal MCU cast, they probably, a lot of them own property or second homes there, because they're thinking like, I'm going to be spending so much time here filming stuff anyway, I might as well get some get an apartment or a house here. So it's like
film multiple projects at once. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's just cut off now, and that's a result of the strike. So that is going to have an economic impact. And and
taxable revenue.
Yeah.
Some of these states don't have a state tax. They exist on sales tax or revenue tax. Like if you're filming in Las Vegas, you get tax breaks and stuff like that. We don't have an income tax, but we have all kinds of other taxes that like I pay taxes. I pay sales taxes, all that. But the average person doesn't have to. And when you come here and shoot, you get tax breaks. But if you have an embedded industry, if you're at a lot in Atlanta and there's a bunch of salon shops, there's a bunch of hotels, all that, the entire district is suffering right now. And all over the world. And like I said, it's going to get to the point where Biden may not get involved necessarily, because that's, like I said, ever since Reagan did that, no president wants to do that. But Congress is obligated to get involved. Yeah. And these state representatives who sign off on these tax breaks are obligated.
I know you just said Biden's not going to get involved most likely, but I mean, you think about the fact that, as I posited, this could last like one full trip around the sun. I mean, we're heading into election year. I mean, it could feasibly become like an election year issue.
Yeah. Yeah. It could become dude, if it's an election year issue, we're talking about 2024 deep into almost the end of 2024. So that's going to be a problem. A lot. Okay, so Daniel Martin, how you doing, man? When you mention retention, are you talking about subscribers or brand together? Both, but subscribers. Because like I said before, when retention is going to be everything, you can only so many people can afford to sign up every month.
When there's only so many people in the world to sign up, as you've also said. Yeah,
exactly. India, everywhere. Eventually you're going to cap out. So yeah, you would love incremental growth all the time. That sounds wonderful. Merry Christmas. But the key thing is keeping what you have, because if I'm making $2 billion a month off of my streaming service, and I hold that $2 billion a month, my stockholders know that, my lenders know that, all my rest of my investors, my capital investors know that. They know what we're working with on a monthly basis. They know that's why Netflix can operate at a $12 to $14 billion negative, because they make so much revenue. Their lenders know that at any time, if we call that up, Netflix to do what they needed to do revenue-wise to make that up, because they retain enough of their people. And it's when Netflix stock goes down, it's because they drop in subscriptions, not necessarily because they don't meet their growth number. It's because they drop in subscriptions. That's where you see the value go down. But if you have content on there that maintains, you got that $2 billion a month. You got lenders making it happen for you. You don't have to spend your own money to be able to get these projects off the ground. And what it does is it just creates stability. Stability, like I said, leads to money. Consistently leads to cash. And you just keep it that way. And now you're talking about, well, people are like, well, they're not going to spend this and that on a TV show for streaming. Fuck yeah, they will. Yes, they will.
Well, like we said, go ahead.
That 200 million that they spend on a Game of Thrones, whatever it is,
yeah.
Whatever it is, I don't care what Game of Thrones puts out now. It could be Game of Thrones
finale redux. Yeah,
doesn't matter. It's going to get viewers, and what's going to happen is, even with piracy, even with the massive amounts of the piracy that show endures, there's still so many people that watch it on the up and up on the legal end, that they know that they can justify it. So they can spend $10 million an episode for Game of Thrones. They could go $15 million an episode if they wanted to. That's justified. Why? Because the overall value that flagship program is that big doorway that it leads into mass.
And when even piracy, they use that as a measurement of overall popularity.
Because it's volume. It's the volume of people that are watching our product. We're the place to be. So when people are thinking that, well, like when we were talking about the whole Justice League thing a couple months and months ago, when we're saying, well, why couldn't HBO just do this on HBO Max? Well, no, they couldn't justify that. But no, yes, they can. You guys are thinking Cro-Magnon way. You guys are thinking, wow, there's a saber-toothed tiger over there. Let me wrestle it down with my bare hands thinking. I'm thinking collective advantage of that stability. The bottom line is that consistent revenue, no matter where it comes from, whatever's giving you that if you're getting $2 billion a month, I can justify a quarter of that. That's not even a drop in the pan when you're talking about that. $2 billion a month. There is no movies out there, no combined movies out there that you can release in a calendar year that is going to give you that revenue once you reach that consistency. It's not just going to happen. It is impossible. It is impossible. That's why the rush to get these things to the places where they make more money, plus not just where they get the higher percentage of their money, but where they increase the value of their streaming services. So now Turtles and all these ones that may not have done well in the fanboy eyes and the outsider's eyes all are being swept up into this central place that makes that collective advantage even bigger. Because now I got kids, go watch the Turtles. I got adults in the house, let's go watch Stones. You know, I got tweens in the house, go watch this. And guess what you do at the end of the month? You don't unsubscribe. Or you got so much stuff that you're in the middle of that you either forget to unsubscribe, and that's all it takes. Retention is key. Growth is great. Wonderful. If you can get it, go for it. But keeping that money and going back to your stockholders every month and saying $2 billion in December, $2 billion in January, $2 billion in February, maybe 1.8 here, 2.1 here. But my average is right here, guys. Okay, I need you financiers to come out of your pocket $400 million for my next project that's going to increase the value. I need you to come out of not my pocket. I need you to come out of your pocket, and here's some things that we're going to sign where you're going to get your residual revenues and stuff like that. I can say that now with a straight face because I'm pulling in $2 point something billion a year. Worst case scenario, if it don't work out, I shave off a little bit of what I made of the year and give you back your money. Best case scenario, you're going to make more. You're going to make more because I'm going to cut you in on those TV rights. I'm going to cut you in on that physical media. I'm going to cut you in on all that stuff. And heaven forbid, if we put it in the theater for a couple of weeks and it wins Academy Award, that Academy Award goes to you. That Academy Award goes to the legendaries, the Weinsteins, the big production companies that front the money. They're on the stage with you getting that statue. And you know what they do with those statues?
One Weinstein isn't.
Yeah, you know, the whole, but they take that statue, and when it's time for them to finance another movie and leverage another movie, we're an Academy Award winning production company. You know, those other little guys that are talking to you, just hang up on them. So yeah, we got to start thinking about this whole streaming thing and this whole entertainment thing in a long linear thing. This box office is great, but it's only the beginning. They're not going, oh my God, I hope I make it all. I mean, they want to make as much money as they possibly can anywhere they are at. But if they don't get it there, trust me, they got plans. They got their parachute. Guess what? If the pilot passes out or dies, you think I'm not getting out of this plane? I'm getting out of there with a parachute. And guess what? Not only that, I don't have to split the money with the pilot. So guess what? It's just
it seems Black Adam might have had that parachute. And some of the Sandman numbers are revealed, and it's really interesting to me that it's being positioned as a flop this way. But it's like the Flash. It's like its first 3 days on Max. It's like Black Adam was like 1.2 million. Flash was like 1.1 million, something like that. So it's like the Flash is starting not far behind Black Adam. So that's why the headlines are a little bit perplexing to me on that. But that begs the question: okay, long term, is the Flash going to is it going to rebound on streaming? And all the more reason to break open the streaming books as through the strike.
Well, and like I said, it just leads to better decision making. If you're making decisions if you're not using associated content to make your decisions on greenlighting these movies, you're a fool. And I think for all of her education and all of her qualifications, Ann Sarnoff was a fool to get out there on the Monday after the Thursday that Zack Snyder's Justice League hits without looking at the analytics and being like, "Wow."
Well, I think it's pretty obvious they wrote that interview, like before the movie had been released. But that's in the history books. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was nearly as much a dumbass decision as the reshoots were in the first place.
Yeah. Yes, I am putting. They got a lot of kids too.
Fourth had a good one. Let me go up here and this one by Fourth. He has a bunch, but like pull up. He says that's how it starts: the fried shrimp, the spicy chicken with fries, enough to drive a William full.
Yeah. Like I said, I got what do I got? I got the poor boy sandwich. Yeah, we do a lot of events and stuff with them. So yeah, we've been busy all day to try to catch each other. So that we can host more drive-ins and stuff outside because that's
you got a giant ass parking lot out there.
Yeah. So and like I said, I'm going to show you some of when we did Kong versus Godzilla, the promo for Kong versus Godzilla was massive, man. That was a massive promo, and that was a drive-in promo, and they were there. All right, guys. So let's see what we have here. We have a shrimp poor boy. So there's fish and shrimp poor boy. I'm sorry, it's catfish in there. I think it's catfish. The fries, it usually looks how beautiful this looks. I could actually use this to sell this. Look at that. And it's a pretty good weight. And it was made by that man that you saw come in here, David. So, yeah, William will be eating good today. So, let's see. He has a very important job. Keeping my spirits up. So, yeah, that's where we're at in the strike.
I'm sure we'll have some, I'm
sure. The problem with the strike is it permeates everything else we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like we can't do the stream without giving a strike update.
Yeah, that would be derelict. Question: when it comes to Batman movies, when we've seen the past 2 years from 1999 to 2022, I think you meant
I think you mean 89. Yeah.
Okay. Which movie is the closest to the original? Is that Batman?
Yeah, exactly.
The Batman is the most complete and the most accurate as far as the actual source material that I've ever seen in any Batman story, TV. It doesn't matter. The Batman is what, in my opinion, Bob Kane met back in 1930, 38, 39.
Yeah, it's basically Detective Comics, the movie.
Yeah, and please don't add a Robin.
Yeah, we were going on a bit about that too on the Patreon stream. Like William, not a Robin fan for anybody who wasn't aware.
Not mixed with Batman. I like I like Tim Drake and I like Damian Wayne, but the whole just in reality of it is just, and then certain tones of Batman. Not every Batman story. I've read hundreds, maybe thousands of Batman stories in my life. Not everyone needs a Robin. Some of them do. Some of them do. And depending on who's writing, I'm like, I will give you one that is perfect right here. Grant Morrison's run on Batman. This Robin fits. This goes well. This story goes well. But not for every Batman Reborn, there's a storyline to where he's forced in there. And I like Robin on his own. Like Tim Drake's stories on his own are great because Tim Drake was the best detective out of all of them. Damian Wayne's a killer. So you eliminated the child endangerment aspect of it because he's not going to be endangered. He's going to endanger you. And if anything, you might die unless Batman or Grayson is there to stop him from killing you. And that was a whole cool thing about him is like they had to bring him back from the ledge because people would come after him. And they're like, I'm coming after a 10-year-old kid. And then he's kneecapping you and paralyzing you in ways that his mother taught him. So I like Damian Wayne. I don't necessarily like the concept of Robin because I think it takes away from Batman. But I understand why people like them, but not Matt Reeves Batman.
Again, as I mentioned on Patreon, that's why William is a fan of Dick being the dead Robin in the Zack Snyder arc.
Any Zack Snyder's or any kind, anytime you can kill him, or it's Dark Knight Returns and all that, you can kill him and use him as an aspect of the guilt in the story of even having a damn kid hanging out you while you're dealing with killers. Then that's cool. That's where he goes in for me. But like I said, for me, I don't want to see. I think people need to understand why the Batman works is because it gave you a different, distinct view of Batman. But here's the thing, that didn't fill my Batman needs altogether. I need a shared universe Batman, and they need to fix this shit. All right, so here's to the writer's strike in 2025. Yeah. I just
as we again
hard to
going back. There's a lot of things I'll probably like reference back to the Patreon stream tonight, but one thing William says, like, everything guns planned, a whole bunch of things. That's not making that 2025 date.
Yeah, I mean, it's by the time you get to that, you're like I said. I know there's a lot of stuff that he can do pre-production, and I know he has his list of people that are there and that are that he knows he's going to cash. He knows who he wants, but you still have to put the ball in motion to the point where you physically have to get in the offices. You have to go to set visits with people. You have to rewrite because not everything in your head is going to necessarily.
And then you got post-production too, and for something that's going to be very effects heavy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I never even pre-strike. When people told me that, I'm like, okay, that's a good goal.
It's a placeholder.
Yeah, that is a good goal. I never expected. I'm putting the Patreon checks up because we've been going through it. So that's in the chat for those of you guys that didn't get a chance to watch it today. But yeah, it was a good goal, and I really didn't. When he said that, I didn't believe that's when it was going to happen. But I was going to knock it. He has to give you something because like so that you have in your mind, And then I fully expected them to have to come back and say, "Oh well, we've had some issues," because that happens in movie makings. I mean, people get sick. You go over budget. The producers look at it and say, "Oh no, we need to change this." James Gunn might look at his own work and say, "Oh no, we need to change this." That takes time and months. So I was okay with that. So I already knew inherently there are things that happen in movie production that are gonna, cause those kind of delays. But now you throw into the fact that you can't even get to that part of it because of this strike. I'm thinking 2020, 2026.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I don't know, man. Let's see. We got some questions here. The Supreme Court is going to stay away from this because in order for the Supreme Court to even have at it, there have to be a lawsuit filed, and it wouldn't reach out of the federal level.
Yeah, this would be a congressional thing.
Yeah, because the Supreme Court, they're not lawmakers, and the laws that allow for tax breaks, and this is where Congress does have the ability to come in because they can question you and bring you before Congress if they're investigating something or they're dealing with something that requires laws being made or adjusted. And there are a lot of laws that benefit studios as far as tax breaks and incentives and things like that are built into state laws and built into federal laws. And there are antitrust things. There's a lot of stuff that Congress can come into and be like, okay, do we need to make a federal law in regards to opening up your books? Do we need to make a federal adjustment to a federal antitrust law to where we don't get to the point where you guys can just hold out? Because that's what they're doing. They're holding out until they can weaken the unions enough to then they come to the table under their circumstances. But they're not going to open up their books because, they're just not going to. They're, like I said,
they're not going to open it voluntarily.
Too much. They have to give up. Yeah, so yeah, here's to another 100 days. Jesus, I just want to see the world burn. Yeah. All right, but when movies don't do well, theaters at launch, they feel like they never happened or don't matter. Nobody talks about them because they're just icon buried in the stream. Not necessarily, because here's another thing, and I thought about this before. Everybody's thinking like, okay, well, listen, I keep bringing up this T-shirt because it's the closest one to me, but I got other ones. So Demeter didn't do all that well, right? And then why waste money on this and why promote it? And it doesn't. That promotion doesn't go away. All that promotion that they did, that lets you know the movie exists. For those people who cannot and were not going to go see it in a movie theater, you're talking to them too. You're not just, and see, this is another thing. You're not just talking to the guy who's going to go to the box office and watch a movie. You're talking to the guy who's going to see that movie, period. He doesn't have to buy that soda at the box office for me to make some money. He's just got to buy it, or he's just got to see it, or he has to consume it on somewhere where I make money. So they may not be talking about it in the box office terms, the chromatic terms that we're all, beholden to, but they're talking about it when they see it. Once it gets into the streaming apparatus, the word of mouth from people in their work. I've heard so many things. I get links all the time. Hey, William, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? It's on one, like, all these things that gone straight. This was in the movies. I didn't get a chance to see it. I wish I had all this. People are talking about this stuff. People are talking about it. It's not the sexy, attractive stuff because it's a person-to-person conversation and not online all the time. But your brother's talking about it. The guy at the water cooler's talking about it. He's not on Twitter necessarily talking about it, but they're talking about it. And that kind of talk leads to revenue because it doesn't have to be on Twitter for me to go home and say, you know what, Bob, the guy who does my tires, was, he knows I like this type of movie, so he recommended this to me. And wasn't that just in the theaters? Oh, cool. So it's that kind of talk that goes out there. And that kind of promotion and the commercials and all that, none of that goes to waste because that still puts that seed in your head. Because even if you didn't get a chance to see that movie, if you didn't get a chance to see James Bond, wow, I missed that in theaters. And here it is now. Bam. I got a high-quality movie, not some retread, and I get to watch it now. So I would have to counter with that. No. Wow.
Oh, that
sounds
sounds
the funniest thing you've ever said.
Yeah,
of all the funny stuff you say.
I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Even the stuff that you say that you don't mean to be funny, or the stuff that you say that you're just trolling me. This is the funniest thing. Please screen somebody. They are never.
Yeah, that ship has long since sailed.
They are never going back to that window. They might not even give you a full 30 days. Dude, Turtles was in, 3 weeks? Demeter was released 1 week, had a week in the box office, and it had plans for POVD the next week.
Barbie. I mean, Barbie is the biggest movie of the year, and that's already on streaming after that's what, I fudging my math here. That was maybe 70, 80 days total. I mean, and that's on the long end.
Can't wait to get that on PVOD or streaming. They cannot wait because you watch now. You've had this big movie, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to put it on streaming, right? And that's going to increase your value of your streaming. And what's going to happen come next February? Oscar time comes around. We're going to re-release that. Oppenheimer's getting re-released.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
They're getting re-released. So you're making money, and those people who still don't have the 3 hours to go see Oppenheimer in the theaters, they're going to go on that streamer. Like, oh, this has been nominated, and that's what the streamers do. When you look at your streaming catalog, they got all these little Oscar statues next, nominated, one, nominated. That stuff means things to people. So, yeah, I mean, no, fourth. I know. I don't know. Let me know if this is
Yeah,
but that
we're
is
not.
never.
Yeah, we're not clear if there's any sincerity to what you're saying there, man.
Yeah, when you're joking, I need you to put like a walrus or a happy face or something so I know because if the studio heads are watching this show right now, they're
probably laughing as hard as we are.
Yeah, they're probably typing in now saying, "Who's this fourth guy?" No, it's not happening. It's not happening. That's twice the weight of a newborn baby. Yep. I've weighed babies and I've weighed my food, and sometimes they're out there. So no, I would trade it Tusk 2. What is this? I would trade a Tusk 2, Invincible Season 2, and a Ben Affleck Batman for a Hollywood collapse if it means we get better. But we're not. We're not. See, you're trading a lot of stuff that means something to you for something you are never going to get because of that. If that happens, you are never getting what you're asking for because that screws everybody. That screws the action.
And don't put the Ben Affleck Batman movie in there because, I mean, we all still want that to happen.
You're going to give that up? Because who are you going to get to be a part of this when they know it's just not a viable living for them? You know what I mean? If you screw up your workplace and you make it just like any other workplace, well, then why don't I just go work there for the same amount of money? You know, I mean, it just doesn't. You know, you no longer become I cannot wait till this new light comes in.
Fourth, you're kind of on a roll tonight, dude. Where it's like we're kind of it's like. Yeah, and you're keeping it ambiguous enough to where it's like we're not sure if you're like pulling our chain or not here.
I wish you were on the Patreon stream so I could like gauge your response to where like, but the 90-day window. Remember when the 90-day window was the whole thing and everybody was like, wait, we need to.
And now it's like dropped to like a 45-day window, and
Oh, and they're killing the cinemas with this. They're killing the industry. No, they are the industry. They're the part of the industry they care about. All right, they don't. They like I said, David Zaslav got up here.
Larry had a good one
David
down here.
Zaslav
He said,
got up here.
Go ahead. I'll bet you this in a minute.
Go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it because I'm gonna.
Yeah. Larry has a good one where he says, "I'm getting my girlfriend to sign up for Williams Patreon, and I'm going to pay for it to support the Howard Fund."
I don't know.
Which plug for everybody watching. It's like if William gets to 20 patrons by what is that? By Wednesday, it's like he will do a stream. Yeah, he will do a stream watching the timeless classic that is Howard the Duck.
It's timeless, yeah. I think, I don't know where we're but I don't know where we're at Patreon wise. So
hop to it, guys, and spread the word to everybody.
Whatever. But yeah, you're not
200 by then.
I know, that'd be hilarious. I woke up in a nightmare and I heard the same thing, Howard the Duck, and I'm like, why is that playing? I'm like, oh no, did I reach 20 patrons? I'm like, slow it down, guys. But like I said, for where I'm at, I'm happy. Like I said, normally you wouldn't do a Patreon stream that soon because it takes a while. But we're at, and I'm happy. But then, like I said, the bitter pill of that is like, oh, a few more of these things, and I got to watch that movie and not just watch the movie. I got to deal with the chat room and deal with the fucking like. And I'm not going to sit still for that one. I'm going to annihilate that movie just like 12-year-old me did. So So here we go. When movies don't do well, I just want to make sure that we get to. Hi, Aaron. How you doing? My favorite Australian. What's going on? All right. Fourth wants anarchy. That's all he wants. He just wants the world to burn.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
All right, Brad, the issue is that streamers tend to release bloated numbers that don't give you the true picture of how many subscribers they actually have instead of giving you the real number. Yeah, we agree.
And that's, again, that goes into the point we're making about the lack of transparency.
Yeah, lying is what I call it. But there we go. All right. I sent you a screenshot of that hilarious. Well, okay, yeah, we're fourth asking for 100 20-day window. That is wow. That is never gonna happen. There you go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yes, yeah,
I got a chance to meet Larry. He was on Avatar, but that's closer than I've been able to meet him. And I was affirmed that I'm pronouncing his name right. September 13th, D-Day. Where are we? I don't think we're I don't think you guys are gonna make it, guys. I mean, I know it. This has been fun and all. You want to make me suffer to watch. We can't watch a good movie, but
hey, film junkie,
I put Howard the Duck in the picture of the stream.
Film junkie Chris Wong, if you're watching tonight, please give a shout out on your next stream about it.
Yeah, we're let's see. Members, audience, yeah, we're still at the same we were today. So yeah. I think I placed my bet pretty solidly. I don't think we're going to be watching Howard on Wednesday. Thank you all for holding back for right now. When we get a good movie for a goal, then yeah, we'll hit it up. So let's see. All right, why do you have an HD digital copy of this?
Yeah,
that is the only way. And like I said, not 19 and a half Patreons. It's got to be 20 if I'm going to endure that on a full stomach.
Without alcohol.
Yeah, I was watching a Patreon stream in a bar when my phone died. Okay, Howard the Duck is eventually going to be like E.T. from Atari. They're going to pay whoever made that movie to bury it in the desert and in a Vegas capsule. Don't bury it out here. That's going to be 30 Patreons. All right, let's see. All right, so people were asking about AEW. William, what do you think? You think Tony Khan should keep moving forward to show his word as law for the locker room to take? What do you think Tony Khan should do moving forward to show that his word is law for the locker room to take him seriously, since he kind of outed himself as a pussy?
Yeah, he kind of did out himself as a pussy.
Well, he has the pussy structure built in because he has those guys. No matter whether the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page have power, it is perceived that they do. And that perception hurts them as much as reality does. So Jack Perry, like I said, I shouldn't see Jack Perry for months. I shouldn't see Jack Perry on TV for months. Because what that does is that shows sometimes that you can scapegoat one guy. And trust me, there's never a situation where it's just one guy. And they can tell me all, blow smoke up my ass and tell me, well, the locker room is so much harmony now since CM Punk is gone. That's a lie. I mean, come on, dude. Every workplace is going to have issues, and it's usually not one person. And if it is that one person and you dealt with them for that long, guess what? You needed that person enough to have dealt with it. So it's on you. All right, I have the money. If I have to, I will make 13 Patreons. You know what, Clint? If you want to go ahead and do that, you go ahead, buddy. If I'm gonna bleed somebody dry for Howard the Duck, I'm gonna let you. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, like I said, the Patreon thing was great today. Like I said, I just meant to get together for a couple of minutes to say hi, wave to people, and it turned into some serious shit. Ray came at me, man.
Oh yeah, Ray had a lot to say, and it was all very insightful.
Had to pull out my anime.
Okay. So we got one. We got one from Anthony down here. Brad, I'm wondering if you agree with me or William. I told William the two villains that made the most sense. I think it means for Matt Reeves. Batman Part 2 is are Harvey Dent and Jonathan Crane, but he says Court of Owls. So you say Court of Owls?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm still kind of I'm still kind of on the fence about like where there's talk about Clayface, so I'm still.
I gotta see how kind of Clayface they're doing. If they're gonna give me the whole Venom looking thing, and then I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna. It has to fit in his world to make it logical.
I was pushing for Mr. Freeze after I've seen the first one.
But if you've ever seen Dexter the first season where they had the ice truck killer, you could do a guy like that freezes his victims or freezes his you could do it in a serial killer way, or you could do it in a monster villain way to where he punishes and blackmails people by freezing them. And like, okay, so say for instance, he wants to blackmail a rich guy. He wants a lot of money. So he kidnaps the girlfriend, kills her and freezes her and dumps the body out, in a hotel room or something like that, where they can be found. And now he can blackmail, kind of like the Godfather 2, where that one senator, they kill that girl and they drug him and he thinks that he killed her. Things like that, where he blackmails and he uses freezing as it. I'm just throwing that out there, but that's something that I think could fit in Court of Owls with the whole conspiracy and with the whole, corruption and how they're embedded into Gotham society, the way corruption is. I think that would be better. But once again, I'd have to see what Matt Reeves would do. But that's that's where I stand on it.
Lee Thompson. Well, I mean that would be a palate cleanser if you end up having to go through Howard the Duck.
I don't even know if she wants to talk about Howard the Duck.
I'm quite sure
she's probably going to want to talk back to the future.
Yeah,
if I bring up Howard the Duck, she's probably going to end the interview.
Yeah, you're gonna hear that click and dial tone.
Yeah, it's like if I was talking to George Lucas. Hey, George Lucas, out of all the stuff, you know what resonates with me the most? Howard the fucking Duck. I'm gonna get dragged all the way from security. I'm gonna be given a restraining order. I'm gonna get my number blocked. My picture's gonna be put up somewhere saying, "You see this guy in the facility?" No. And that goes for anybody else that brings up that movie. If the people who made the movie fought over who would take the blame, I don't think it's a good topic to any of the people in the movie. All right. No, it's got to be Patreons, buddy. It's got to be the Patreons. Sandman number 6, 24 hours will forever stay with me. Oh, man, 24 hours is great. I mean, there's just so much in those 48 stages. And like I said, I figured it's easy to talk about that one. In fact, you know what? Let's bring that up.
Yeah, and actually, it's like this would be because I've never read a lot of Sandman myself, so it's be kind of a learning experience for me.
Yeah, but a lot of you, most of you, and I'm going to bet that most of you have not read it. But I will say, as a lot of you watch the Netflix show, and if you watch that show, I'm not going to say it gets everything; it gets a lot right. I mean, The Sound of Her Wings is literally verbatim taken from that episode. Let's see. And that's like literally, oops, I'm copying the StreamYard link. Why am I doing that? Let's see, present, stretch. Oh, now it's getting cooler. I'm still waiting for my air conditioner guy. Come on. Dude, I'll be so happy when I'm competent with Streamlabs to not do StreamYards anymore. All right, here we go. It's so slow. All right, so Preludes and Nocturnes, that's the graphic novel that goes with it. And this is the DC with the Sandman fandom wiki site. It has everything broken down to where I can give it to you guys. So here are the 8 issues that make up the first 8 issues of Sandman that were compiled into the Preludes and Nocturnes, and they make up all of the first season of season 1 of Sandman, which we are getting to. So Sleep with the Just is the first one, and that's the very first issue of Sandman right there. Sam Keith and Neil Gaiman. This is right off of Sam Keith's run of the Hulk. Hey, what's going on? Hey, my air conditioning guys here. How you doing? Okay, cool. If anything is going to blow up, let me know so I can get out. And if you need to turn the power off, let me know so I can get out. All right. Okay. All right, air conditioning guys here. Everybody cheer for me. Okay, so all right. So this is this very first one is Sandman number 1, and this is what you see in the beginning, where a group of magic welding men seeking immortality, and that's Charles Dance from Game of Thrones. He played that, and that's where they kidnap him and all that, and they keep him for 75 years. It's 75 years in here. I think it was 100 years in the book, and this is where you're introduced to everything. I'm going to tell you why I chose this one. Reason why I chose this is, and a lot of my stories, eventually I'll get outside of my collectorship as far as what they mean to me goes. But I figured to get this segment started off, the best way to do it was for it to come from me personally. When I'm buying comics, and this is in 1988 when this comes out, I'm buying comics, and I've been buying comics throughout the early 80s, all the way throughout the late 80s. And everything that's been given to you and that was allowed to me, like when I was buying comics out of 7-Eleven and Walmart and places that said, hey kids, comics, and little raggedy racks that destroyed the comics. We didn't care because I was buying them from the stories. You couldn't get stuff like The Crow and Sandman and anything Vertigo, a House of Magic. I mean, Swamp Thing, the version of Swamp Thing that came through Vertigo. You weren't getting that. And the majority, up until Neil Gaiman, there were the dominant thing was superhero comics, even to the point where X-Men, one of the more alternative versions of in the Chris Claremont era, were out there. It was still superhero comics. It was still within the main superhero. DC, same things. You could search the corners of DC to find certain things. Like Legion of Superheroes was a superhero story, but it was violent. It was an adult-driven story. It wasn't like picking up Action Comics or the Green Lantern of the day. They were telling you high-end stories without superheroes. And even though Swamp Thing has been around, to me, Swamp Thing is not born until Swamp Thing hits Vertigo and Jonah Hex and all these things, because there were things that had been around a while, but they were not collected into the Vertigo atmosphere until Sandman became the standard bearer. And it introduced a character that just was so different at the time. Now you see a lot of things when it comes to comic and when it comes to pop culture, we take them for granted. But back in 1988, and when it was 1989, 1990, and all the way up to 95, when this series ran for the 75 issues that it ran, it's hard to believe it only ran 75 issues. But you were taking a chance on the unpredictable comic book story. You were still reading a comic book. They were dealing with a lot of shit. And when I say they were dealing with a lot of stuff, if you go back and read Preludes and Nocturnes now, you only need to get to the last issue, and you're talking about heavy stuff that was in comic books, but it was sugar coated. You're talking about suicide. You're talking about death, dealing with death. The whole reason that death is in this comic book and is in the comic book as a character is to give you a manifestation of death and how it's dealt with, not just in humans, but through the abstracts, which is what Death and what Dream and all these characters are. When she's talking about death, she's there at the beginning and she'll be there at the end. And she'll be there at the end to turn out the lights. When that's a quote that's in the show, she's talking about things that were relevant now, but way relevant. We're not being put forth in the comic book. They're talking about depression, seriously talking about depression. We're talking about drug use. We're talking about a lot of the things, and they're putting it in this abstract way. It's not like Green Lantern fighting Speedy with some heroin, shooting up and saying, this is bad. Now we're going to have a learning moment. Kids just say no. No, they went into the underlying causes and story that made these people what they are. They dealt with serial killers in the most horrific way that you could have. That Corinthian is the most fucked up character I've seen in a long time. He looks fucked up. He is, and he's just the cavalier way in which Neil Gaiman, and even now with Nightmare Country. I mean, every time you see the Corinthian, and he's played perfectly in that show. He's played perfectly in that voice, that unsettling. Everything about him is unsettling, and he's a serial killer. He's a serial killer, and he has no value of life. And you're introduced, and let's give you the amount of characters, the type of characters that have stood up to say. Roger Burgess, that's the character that captures him. You're introduced to Death. You're introduced to Dream, obviously. You're introduced to Cain and Abel, Gregory, Lucian. You're introduced to the elements like the pouch of sand, which obviously you guys got to see manifested, his helm, and his ruby. You are introduced to John Constantine, which was a ginger swap when it came up to the show. Nada, Lucifer Morningstar, another one, which was ginger swap. Etrigan, you reintroduced to Etrigan. John D, Dr. Destiny. Remember that episode? That's the episode that somebody brought up in the. I thought that was beautifully manifested. I thought it was even better done in the comic books, but like I said, the show does it great. But to me, and the greatest issue, probably the most expensive issue out of this, is the Sound of Her Wings. But like just some of the issues, let's go through the issues. Sleep of the Just, which is number 1. Imperfect Host. Dream a Little Dream of Me. A Hope in Hell. Passengers, 24 Hours, which is the second most famous one. The Sound and Fury. The Sound of Her Wings. And the Sound of Her Wings was obviously number 8. There was a misprint of it put out that's really worth a lot of money. But are you guys seeing this? Yeah, there you go. I have this issue. I have this issue at the house. It's not for sale here. I have this issue. It's in the book. It's in the last part of the book, Preludes and Nocturnes. But yeah, 24 hours is great. The part of this storyline where he's visiting the guy after he gives the guy immortality and he keeps revisiting him, and I love that episode. That's the one time where I watched a TV show and I thought the TV show actually portrayed it better than the book, because the drawing and everything is cool on it, and the verbiage is, all of it's there, right? But you're seeing this guy go through all this in motion, and the coolest thing about that one is that you're talking about, and then, you know what is that, a moth? Why they like the lights? I don't know what that is. I don't know what kind of bug that is. You better not sting me. I'm going to kill you anyway, but don't sting me. But anyway, when you are watching it, right, you're finally seeing, and this is 8 issues in, you're finally seeing the consequences that death has on this guy and that life has on him. He may not be affected by death, but he is affected by time in a way that he's lost time. And now he's seeing it. He doesn't have the value of life in his longevity until he gives that human that value of life and longevity. And I love the fact at the end of that story where he's like, you've lived all this time, you've seen all these awful things. Don't you want to be, let out of your misery? I've bumped into so many humans that just, want to die. They want to live the process of life. They want to grow old and all this. You keep coming back here. You seem to enjoy this. I can end it for you right now if you want to. And he's like, no, I've seen a bunch of horrible things. Yes, I've dealt with loss. I've dealt with death. I've dealt with people around me changing. I've dealt with the world changing. But I've also witnessed great things. I witnessed things and things that have come into reality that I would have never imagined. And that's the gift that he gave him. And he also learns the value of friendship, because when Dream, Morpheus starts out, and just like in the show, he's a cold, unfeeling human being, attached to nothing, and nothing means anything to him. And he starts seeing when he comes back and he's been gone, he's been out of the loop, he sees what he means to everyone else, just in the abstract, just in the fact that dreams have been kept no custodian for all those times. But he also realizes that what life means to the people who dream, and that means a lot to him. And I think death brings that back into focus of him in that conversation in the park. That's why I added her to the thumbnail as well, because death is as much part of these first 8 issues as anything else. Everybody he's brought in briefly, Lucifer, all these people are brought in, and it's almost like it's a mental state of mind that Neil Gaiman is trying to express to you with these characters. I don't know, man. You weren't alive when this came out, so what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, as I said, it's like I've never read a whole lot of excuse me. Yeah, I've never read a whole lot of Sandman in my life, so yeah, a lot of this is really just it's kind of a crash course in it for me. It's like I haven't even really got started on the Netflix show yet, so Sandman, in the pantheon of like DC characters, he's actually probably one of the ones that I'm least familiar with. So this is a good kind of intro for me.
Yeah, he's damn kids, boy. Hold on, I am not yet. Let's see, not yet. I'm typing my mom. Let's see. Bam. Okay. Let's see how many patrons we're at. I don't think. Yeah, we're not moving. It's just fine. Like I said, we're ahead of the game, but I made a very ambitious bet, and like I said, I knew it was not in the realm of possibility. That's why I made the bet, by the way. I knew I wasn't going to lose.
Well, that's come on, that's underhanded.
Hey, it's Vegas, baby. They build casinos on that mentality. So let's look at so that's The Sound of Her Wings. Desire. Oh, Desire's mentioned this one. Desire actually comes in later on after this issue. And who's the person who plays him or them on the Morgan? They did it. They were singing on. Hold on, man. Whoever the person that played them, Desire, Mason, Desire, Sandman, Mason. Somebody will probably in the chat to get it. Desire Sandman show. Let's see. Played by Mason Alexander Park. Wow. You couldn't have nailed that character any better. So if any of you who have not read Sandman and are trying to figure out if that character is or why are we doing donuts in the parking lot? Why are we doing donuts? I know. I just bought tires cost money. Who are you showing up for? Look, babe, look at this. Anyway, Mason Alexander Park does a great job in this. I was blown away by their performance on this. And like I said, you just got to go back and read it. But Desire is a great character. That's one of his siblings, and she's in this one. Like I said, this was released in June 27th. I bought this off the shelf, 1989.
Wow.
I'm glad I was alive for this. To be honest with you, I am glad. I don't feel old when I was grateful enough to be able to experience this as it came out. 24 hours, and the covers that Sam Keith would do, he would do painted covers. So let's look for 24 hours, which is like we were bringing up. It's one of the better ones. All right, and it won't give me. There we go. I'm gonna go plug this phone in because it's.
Okay. Yeah, I saw your comment there, Larry, where you told me the Netflix show is. I've heard great things about it. I just haven't gotten onto it yet. So I need to probably dive into it probably over the holiday season.
Don't binge watch it either. Don't binge watch it. It came out and it was available, and they put out some bonus episodes. So there's actually like 11 episodes total. Don't binge watch it. Appreciate it as it comes, right? All right, so Dream a Little Dream with Me. This is number 3, and one of the coolest things about it is this: these covers that he would do. They were abstract in themselves. They were like paintings that you had to translate. What was he talking about? What did he mean? What was the conversation between the artist and Neil Gaiman when it came to these covers? You see what I mean? It wasn't just about the title. It was about everything about it, the artwork. And Chris Bacalo, who would do some of the death stuff, he would change his art style so that to fit what Neil Gaiman was trying to say. And then a lot of his art that he would do later on for the main titles was attributed to what he did for Sandman. So this was one of the other issues. So 24 hours. And he created an entire world. Like when you see it in The Dreaming is an entire world where all Cain and Abel are exactly like they are. This is one of my favorite ones. This reminds me of a Tori Amos cover, The Choir Girls. And she has a good relationship with him. And I can't believe that some of her stuff wasn't influenced. So a lot of people thought that Delirium, one of the characters that is in here, which is the sister of Desire, was based on Tori Amos. He never confirmed that, but yeah, it's things like that. But I think that for a lot of people that are going through issues right now, I'm not saying that the Sandman is therapy.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that these first 8 issues, and maybe even these to a certain extent, were therapy for him and what the people around him may have been going through, to the point where you may be able to see some of what you're going through in these books. And like I said, the way they have to think their way through things. And like I said, they're doing it in the abstract, which is like they're not having the kind of conversations like you and me are having about mental states. They're doing it with mythological characters. They're doing it with dragons. They're doing it with abstract, like death, literally death. You're literally having a conversation with death. All right. If you were doing that in Marvel, you're literally talking to a skeleton lady wearing a purple robe, talking to Thanos. That's the difference between what Neil Gaiman was doing and what everybody else is doing. But like I said, I think for me, as you left the 80s and entered the 90s, it became more okay to tell stories like this. And this invited a whole new level of comic book fan that just wasn't being reached. It brought in, the horror fan or the Stephen King reading fan, and a lot of the people that could connect with the kind of stories that Neil Gaiman was telling that were not being told by a mainline company. And even though Vertical was a sub print, a sub label, it's still DC. That DC was above Vertigo, so it was still DC taking that risk. And like I said, right now, whenever you have something that people coming in here have seen it only through a TV show, that means it's transcended, and that's why I put it into this particular story arc. I saw fourth Matt Reels realism take his dumb. I'm going to go ahead and time him out. Busy making new email list. You know what, Clint? If you get us to 20, I'll do it. Yes, yay for AC. Oh, wait a minute. Is that a breeze or did that just come through? Oh, no, it's a breeze. I'm hoping he fixes it without me having to. Oh, my goodness. I'd rather get kicked in the nuts by a camel than have to pay for a brand new compressor motor.
God.
All right, anyway. All right, I'm trying to get down to the more Swamp Thing was perfect. Gaiman was great, but damn more. Well,
Yeah.
more Swamp Thing was in that Vertigo universe. So yeah, I agree 100%. Okay.
I love how it ends with damn Moore, and you can read that in almost two different ways about Alan Moore.
I don't expect him to be a consultant on on anything.
Hell no.
That guy, yeah, so.
You can't get him for Watcher, and you're not going to get him for Swamp Thing.
Oh yes, yes. Bernie writes and paved the way, and a lot of the stuff you see in the Vertigo stuff was by him because he was doing those weird ass covers. Good news, bad news.
So the chicken there, man.
Okay.
We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
There's so many units up there.
And I'm
trying to figure out which unit is for this one. This suite.
Yeah, because this building was literally built. And I shit you not. Khrushchev was negotiating with Kennedy while this building was being built. So I'm surprised you didn't go up on the roof and there's not a guy on a unicycle with fans hooked up to the pedals. So I just please give me good news tonight. I need good news tonight.
We'll figure it out.
All right, man. Thank you. All I wanted was normalcy, and things does not blow up on me. Things always blow up. Okay. Bernie writes in. So are we still talking about Batman? Are we still talking about Batman? Okay.
I think that was going back to Batman. Yeah.
Okay. Let me get caught up here, guys. Hey, like I said, if you guys hit the 20, you hit the 20. I will suffer for you. Oh, don't worry, my friends are doing. How many friends you got, son? Damn. Is it? You guys really want to sit? What if I vomit on air?
It'll be worth it. Damn it.
If I eat Sister Kim's and I see duck boobies and I'm like, oh.
I say no. I'd recommend not eating anything within a 5-hour radius of watching Howard the Duck.
How you doing, Chappie? Hi, Rhea, the attacking harpy, beating me up today. No, I'm just kidding. Rhea bought a lot to that stream. That's why that wasn't a normal Patreon stream. That was like a legit, get down to business stream. So that I was pleasantly surprised. She took off the gloves and just started,
I was able to thank her in person for my audio upgrades. So
yeah, listen, she helped me out too. I don't have the cat ears here. I have the cat ears at the home, but she ushered in the era of cat ears because she looks cute in them, and she has her little floppy hat, and she puts them on the floppy hat, and then she's always smiling, and then she faces this way, playing her games, And I'm like, I gotta get me some. I gotta look cuter. I gotta have me some cat ears, and she sent me the cat ears, man. Yeah, Brad, you got to watch Sandman. You got to watch Sandman, man.
Yeah, I've heard pretty much nothing but just great things about it. I just hadn't gotten to it yet.
Yes, he is. He's a scientist in that. Yeah, Sam Keith, dude. If you want to read something, it's Sam Keith's run on the Hulk and the Max is some of his earlier stuff. Sure. Hey, Brad, take over. I got to go try to save the air conditioner.
Okay.
Or help him save the air conditioner. All right.
All right.
No problem. I'm happy you're here.
Oh, awesome. All right. Let me see. Since I'm not the Sandman expert of the two of us, let me go ahead through the questions here and see if there's any I haven't seen. And actually, yes, I saw what you had asked, Anthony. Let me go up to your earlier question. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Brad, I'm not sure if you ever play these games. When you have PlayStation to Ratchet and Clank or Jack and Daxter, how do you think those two games could work in live action for Apple TV or Prime? I couldn't tell you, man. It's like have not taken that plunge on those titles, so I could. I mean, I think it's just like anything. You get the right creative team behind it, and you just let them work their magic. They can do some good stuff with it. But I mean, I couldn't really comment on the on the material itself, unfortunately. See more Spider-Man 7285. More Swamp Thing was perfect. Game was great. Oh yeah, we heard that one earlier. Oh, here's a good one. This is Larry. I was watching an episode of Celebrity Family Feud today, and the question was, if you dared to make fun of Superman, what would you mock? Terry Bradshaw's daughter said his mask. Yeah. It's a better pivot than his glasses. It is. It just is. Here. See, Fort says that's why people keep fan casting fantasy villains, despite Reeves' statements on realism. Yeah. I mean, See, yeah, I was really on the Mr. Freeze train after seeing the Batman. We'll just and there's all these rumors about Clayface. So I mean, it will be interesting to see if he can how he would plug some of the more sci-fi oriented Batman villains into his universe. Because I mean, we saw what Nolan did with like the biggest one probably was the Scarecrow and Bane with him. So it'd be interesting to see what Matt Reeves kind of has in store for if he takes any more fantastical villains into his world. Yeah, Dr. Destiny episode of Justice League Anime was great. It was. That whole show I love. I love Justice League Anime and Justice League Unlimited. That's like I love the I actually I'm probably a bigger fan of 90s animation than William is, because that was what I grew up with, was Batman animated series, Superman animated series, and Justice League Unlimited. I actually got to meet a couple of the voice cast at a con last year. I got to meet who was it? George Newbern. I got to meet Maria Canals Barrera, and I got to meet Susan Eisenberg. They were on a panel, so they did a little reminiscing about it. And George Newbern said he enjoyed the Snyder Cut. So, little thing I throw out there. One Superman endorsing another. Yeah, Williamson. Yeah. Back. Is it back up?
So far, so good.
Yeah, I was going through some questions here.
He's working on the compressor motor, which is like the thing that would like destroy me financially, if that's what it ended up being. Hold on for a second, because he's calling me back and forth. So okay. I told him to call me because I got to go flip on stuff.
Yeah.
You see some. Yeah, this is what I go through, guys. This is you're watching a real life TV show. So hold on, I can hear. Oh my gosh, even a hot ear now feels good. Hold on. We're doing this. Wallet transaction.
We are going into the fall here too. So I mean, like, what's the weather like there? I'm assuming you're not dealing with
I got the last couple of days of 100s, then it goes into the 90s, and it slips. Like by the end of the month, we'll be slipping into the 80s. But the problem is it's a heating and air unit. So once it gets cold, so if I can survive these months, right, I have that little interim period that is that you don't need anything on. You don't need the heater on. You got that late September to late December type of window.
Well, and one thing I've always, because I've never been to Vegas, but one thing I always kind of wondered, because my dad would tell me stories about being in the Gulf War. He said it's like it's scorching during the day, but it gets down to like below freezing at night. Is that also the case in Vegas,
dude? Okay, not to go a completely off comment and tell you another war story. I get to we land in Kuwait, and Kuwait is where you get all your gear and stuff and everything else. You go through these. Actually, no, it was in Fort Lewis. They're giving us like the Under Armour, the full thermals, and the linings of the coats and the all this weather. And I'm like, dude, you're sending us to the desert, man. It's hot as hell in there. And when we get there, we're like, because when I got there, it's 110 degrees, and that was in the fall. I got there October 4th, 110 degrees in there. And it was pretty hot, but the next couple of months it started to go down, so it starts dropping down. We're like, okay, cool, this is bad. Fucking November, man. End of November, it plunged to the point where the sand turns to like ice.
Oh man!
And I have never been so cold in my life, and I'm laughing. I'm like, they knew what the hell they were talking about when I got on that thermal. I got on that little liner. I got in that little sleeping bag liner. I'm like, I'm ready to set myself on fire for warmth. It was so cold. And I'm like, my eyeballs are freezing. I'm like, what is going on? But you're there for a full year, so you get to see every season. So I went from
because my dad.
I went from that. Go ahead.
Yeah, because my dad would tell me it's like you could drink during the day. You could drink like 2 full bottles of water and not have to take a leak because it's like you would just sweat it all out. But he also mentioned like at nighttime, winter months, it's like it just gets so frigid. And I've always wondered, is that also the case in Las Vegas?
Not as bad as over there. It gets cold and uncomfortable in Vegas. You get down in the 40s, maybe 40s and 50s. Some days it gets colder than that. But I would wake up and I'm like 38. It's 38. I'm in the desert. And then you couldn't drive when you drive the little dune buggy, you couldn't drive it because there was like little slushy things and you would slide. And I'm like, what? And then these cold ass winds would come, like the sandstorms with like ice. I'm like, wow, what? This is like literally. And like I said, you would literally have to be covered up, and I would have to wear the goggles because literally the liquid in my eyes was like, I might not be able to blink ever again if I don't,
wow,
fix this.
Wow.
Okay. I could do. There's so much stuff I could tell you about that 1 year. That 1 year was like 20 years.
Wow.
No, you have not, Mr. Pink Floyd. Yeah, we're gonna go into that in a minute.
I got a good question here. I want to answer. It's for me. It's Anthony. It's a question. Brad, what's your opinion when the spoof movie came out? Meet the Spartans. Did you think it was retarded? Did you think it was funny? I thought it was pretty awful. It's like it's from those same guys who did what those guys do. It was that Friedberg
Scary movie.
Yeah. I hate the Scary Movies. I know it's popular and I hate every single chapter of that series. It's like they're so lowbrow. Okay. Here's what it is. Here's the thing with me and because now I'm going to go a little bit of a rant with is my perspective on comedies. Is that I just find is like, and this will be interesting for you because you always point out how my are the age difference here, but it's like I found as I get older, it's like it just the smut humor or a lot of the toilet humor, crass sex humor kind of thing. It's like that appeals to me less and less. It's like, and the analogy I use is that if the original Hangover came out today, I don't think I would be as big on it today as I was at the time because it's like because that's what it's all predicated on. So and yeah, it's like a lot of I've gotten, some might say, snooty in my in my what I like in comedies or what my but I just don't like to. I don't like to feel like I just take it. I'm just engaged in just lowbrow humor. It's like I want to actually feel a little bit intellectually stimulated at what I'm laughing at. So to answer your question about Meet the Spartans and all the spoof movies of like they're freaking horrendous. They're all horrible. The scary movie. What was it? Disaster movie. That might be the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Is disaster movie.
Yeah.
What was the other one those guys did? They did what they do? Epic movie. They did. Yeah. They're all.
I mean, another teen movie.
Yeah. They're all.
There's
we used to
have making fun of the nudity trope where the girls just walking around.
Yeah. They're great. We used to have great spook. We had like Young Frankenstein. We'd have like Blazing Saddles. We'd have what's another good one? Or like Naked Gun or the Hot Shots.
Yeah, I hated those movies.
Or Spaceballs.
I abhor Spaceballs.
Really? Okay.
But I don't like spoof movies ever because I am a guy who, if I like something source material wise, I shouldn't, but I'm like, why are you making fun of it? That's not funny. Fuck you. But the last movie I saw, spoof or otherwise, that was a comedy, and I always bring it up, was Tropic Thunder. I don't pay to see comedies, so when I see a spoof movie, I'm like, you know what? I saw the original, what they're making fun of, and I'll leave it at that. I saw 300, so Meet the Spartans is stupid, and then he's just kicking everybody down the pit. I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, they have like a 5-minute scene where he's kick. And the fact that they're so predicated on whatever is current, they don't age well because he's kicking Britney Spears when she's in her, kind of rough period. He's kicking he's kicking down the judges of American Idol. It's like they all suck. They are all horrendous.
Remember, Scary Movie. The first Scary Movie came out in the 90s, right? 1999.
It was like 2000, I think it was the first
2000, but they stopped. It was 2000. They stopped. They redid some of the parts of it so that the stupid Ghostface, they could use the bullet cam technology for that the Ghostface could do the thing.
They could do the Matrix dodging the bullets.
Because that just came out, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the problem. They're all trying to like capitalize on what's popular, but it's like they age like within 6 months. No,
beer commercials were using it. It's like,
yeah. It's like they Meet the Spartans. They are all freaking garbage.
They were doing the slow motion again, like Zach was doing. All right, same here. Don't know much about the Sandman. Just watched on Netflix series. Does the Sandman ever? Something flickered.
Oh man.
Okay. Does the Sandman ever fight DC? Yes, he does. He has fought. I forgot which ones he's fought, but he has fought. He's in the DC universe. It's just not in the corner that's ours. So yeah, he has fought. Death has shown up to places. Death has actually shown up in comic books. So yeah.
No, it wasn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw this comment here that Aaron left. The Vampires Suck was a funny movie. That was the one they did that was spoofing Twilight. No, it wasn't. No, it's they're horrible. They're all terrible, and that's the one that's targeting Twilight. And you know how hard it is to screw up poking fun at Twilight.
Yeah, it's literally sparkling vampires. So yeah, there you
go. Mean, it's the lowest hanging fruit in the world, and those guys couldn't pull that off. No, every single one of them is, and the ones that are actually the ones that I do like, they're spoof movies that are contemporary. It's things like Kung Fu Hustle, and it's things like Black Dynamite. It's ones that they're comedies, but they're also like example. They fit within the genre or the material that they're spoofing. So it's like they work because you can enjoy them on both levels.
Yeah, let's see. I really want to hear you MST3K. That's what's going to happen. No, it's going to be worse than that. Because they're kind of like going along with it. I will not be going along with this shit. All right. No, we're like I said, if that movie gets in front of me and I have to watch it to fulfill my obligations, then yeah, we're going to destroy that.
There's a couple here. Go down. There's one from Vince. There's one from Rhea, and actually one from me. Yeah, you guys have got me a little bit of a spoof rant here, but I got to answer a few of these. So there's Vince asked about Kung Pao Enter the Fist. That's pretty good, and part of the reason for that is because you can watch it two different ways. You can watch it just as is, but you can also on the DVD you can take off the dub track and like listen to what he's actually saying, so it gets even crazier that way. So Kung Pao, that's pretty good. Ball and Reyes says balls of brand all DC movies are now. So Go back to that one. Yeah. Want to stream with that? I mean, I know you might be better qualified to answer than I am.
Yeah, that means DC. That means Warner Brothers is getting paid.
Yeah.
that's another way of them making money.
Yeah, and so show us those numbers, like for Black Adam or ZSJL.
Oh, you jackass! I don't believe you.
Okay, let me. I got a few. Yes, I was just saying. Ray pointed out Balls of Fury was funny because I might disagree with you a little bit there, Ray, because you look at it. I mean, it's essentially Enter the Dragon with table tennis, so you can look at that as a spoof. And Balls of Fury, I do like that a lot. That one's pretty good. It was the guy. I think it was the team, the people who did Reno 911. They did that. That one I was so enjoyed.
Oh Lord, here's one for you, Brad.
Where do you see the future of the comic book genre in terms of storytelling? The comics are fraud behind the story. That's an interesting question. I mean, and that's actually probably one that could make for like a whole topic on a stream on its own. I mean, William and I both have our thoughts on where we would like it to go, but
thank you for not including the comic book guy into that question there. About
yeah, exactly. It's like what? Yeah,
just kidding.
I think. I mean, this might sound a little bit predictable coming from me, but it's like I'm one of those people who's always said Zack Snyder's always been ahead of the curve in terms of, what he's done with DC characters. I mean, and I would also apply this to something like Black Adam and the Flash, and once they're connected to the foundation he started, was that, when I think of DC, what I've always associated with is just grand epic storytelling about gods among men. I mean, that's what I think of when I think of DC, and that's really the foundation he started at. And I think I'm thinking that's like there's going to be like there's going to be a rekindled interest in the portrayal of or the deconstruction of the characters, through that lens. So because I think we're even seeing with like the MCU now, it's like people are kind of getting a little bit exhausted by of the quips and the comedy being just part and parcel of the experience. So I think the deconstruction angle and the you looking at it's like, well, these are gods, but what does that mean? It's like I think that's going to mean a lot in the next the next decade or so of comic book movies. So I that's kind of where I see it going.
I see it going. I have to 100% agree. And the reason why I say that is because I think that is where we were going 7 or 8 years ago, but we weren't ready for it yet. We weren't ready to have those discussions yet. We weren't ready there in the superhero world to have the kind of discussions of talking about a polarizing subject of how would we treat Superman if he were here. We have so many, we look at the same thing. We could all look at the same picture and see something different. We all look at the same parts of religion, and a lot of the religions are interblended with each other, and we see something drastically different. How would the world perceive an alien that would literally essentially be something out of Ancient Aliens coming down here? How would they perceive that as God? And one of the things that that does for you, and one of the things Zack Snyder was trying to show people within his storytelling, was not only how would we accept him, but how would he want to be accepted, and how his godhood and the possibility of an existence of something like him or Batman or any of these, Wonder Woman, how does that reflect on us as a society? What does that make us? And I think that we were not ready for that in 2013. We weren't ready to let go of our fanboy, clutching our comic books from when we were a little kid and afraid that if somebody makes a different version of that character, it's going to rip up my comic book. No, we weren't ready for that. So I think that a lot has changed in 9 to 10 years since Man of Steel has happened, to where I think we're ready for that deeper thought. We're done with shit like Thor: Love and Thunder, which is modern day Howard the Duck for me, by the way.
How many patrons would you need to sit through that again?
And I promoted that shitty movie. But the thing is that people, I think, as they've grown up in age, people who were into that, we're eating up all the MCU. they've evolved. They've evolved into wanting something else. And now it's a lot of those people who would not give the DCU a chance in the beginning are now going on the streaming, now going and watching it on TNT. Now they're going to see these places, and you hear from them. I hear from people all the time that I've dealt with for a long time. I've promoted from the beginning all the way up until now, and I've watched their minds change about what kind of storytelling, because it changes with the person. As you aim your needle towards a different demographic, or you adjust your needle as a publisher or as a content creator, you start understanding that the same people that you missed are coming back around again, and they want different things out of life and their stories. So longevity and faith in your storytelling has to be there in order for you to be able, take the time to let your customer evolve and your reader evolve to where you're going, and don't be afraid to go back. So I think where we're going in the future is where we were in 2013. We just weren't ready to be there yet.
Yeah, all the more reason to resolve the Snyderverse.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, like I said, in Kingdom Come would have been the perfect way to do it, because that's literally literally telling that story.
The world. I think the world right now is totally ready for something like Kingdom Come.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we didn't have supervillains like Elon Musk. People like that. That's literally a Lex Luthor type, right? I mean,
It's okay. I got a couple of other spoof ones I wanted to address. Your Black Dynamite and Kung Fu also great spoofs. Yes, they are. They're great spoofs because they're also examples of what they're spoofing.
Well, Black Dynamite wasn't just a spoof. You're spoofing black exploitation film,
but it is a legit black exploitation movie too.
Yeah, Black Dynamite is not a. I don't know what the tribute or whatever, but it's if you watch Black, and I've watched them all, Black Dynamite it pays homage to
Michael Jai White. He's got a follow up kind of coming to that actually this coming Friday called Outlaw Johnny Black. So it's the same kind of thing, but it's it's in the Old West. So, and I've had the pleasure to interview him several times. So he's always very insightful guy to talk to, and he's of course hell of a martial artist. So. Yeah, there'll definitely be something to watch out for. You see, Daniel says Black Dynamite is legendary. Yes, it is.
It got a lot of people to go back and watch Willie Dynamite. It got a lot of people to go back and watch Superfly and, Dolomite. And Dolomite, Eddie Murphy, Dolomite is my name.
Yeah.
Now people are looking up Dolomite. I mean, and those movies were, listen, black exploitation in AI and in some of the black exploitation horror, like American International Pictures, like Blackula. Listen, guys, politically correct, they were not. If you watch Blackula, they're not friendly to gays in Blackula. They hated cops and white people in Blackula, because you have to understand the time and what it was being told and what all that culturally meant for us back then. And watching it now, holy cow, does it not age?
Ooh, yeah.
Like when there's obviously Blackula kills a gay man, and I think when the cops want to care, who cares about a dead blank? I'm like, wow. I know it's 1972, but damn, But where were we with gay culture in 1972? We weren't. Yeah. And then the cops are the dumbest things on earth. You could tell how we felt about cops in the 60s.
Well, I don't think if you made Blackula again today, I think the portrayal probably wouldn't be that different.
Yeah, it did just be different. But it was, boy, they hated cops. I mean, and it was in LA. It was in Watts. I mean, it was funny because it was in Watts just after the Watts riots. So the Watts is all ran down. So yeah, it got a lot of people to get a lot of that.
Aaron says Airplane was a good one. Yeah, that was. Larry Robin Hood Men in Tights. Yeah, I always dug Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I hated this movie. The only cool thing about I'm Gonna Get You Sucker is Fly Guy's poetry at the Pimp Convention. My blank better have my money, not all, not half, but all my cash on my foot. I mean, it's just, you could do that in the 80s. You could not do that now. And when Fly Guy's running and he's got the fish in his shoes and they're chasing him and his shoes break. It's funny.
William, you're going to love this one that Daniel Martin just left. Howard the Duck, greater than Love and Thunder.
Okay, you already know the answer to this. Love and Thunder, the Thor movies are just bad in general. I wasn't disappointed with Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder met the low standards that I had for the Thor movies. I think the Thor movies are trash. I don't think the Thor character is trash. I like his portrayal of that character when he's with the Avengers or when he's with another ensemble. Not Ragnarok, because I thought Ragnarok was pure garbage. But when he's with the Avengers, not when he's when he's with these other characters to basically take your attention away from just how bad he is in this role on his own. They just go, put the Hulk in there, put Sif in there, give me Academy Award winner, give me Kate Blanchett, give me anybody to make you forget that Thor is in this movie. And that's what they've done. And those movies are horrible. I don't have expectation. If you told me Thor's 5 or 6 is coming out, unless I see otherwise, I'm going to go in expecting trash. I'm going to go in expecting the same quality from the Thor movies as I do of the Meg movies. But the Meg movies are fun. I know I'm not wasting my time with Meg movies because they're
because you get what you pay for. It's giant shark.
Thor does so in the guise of a real comic book movie, and I think they suck. Now, Howard the Duck was offensive in ways that was like not just offensively bad, but there are. Oh my goodness!
Oh, some bad news about the AC.
No, well, one of the other guy who does electrical help for me just walked by and said he loves Howard the Duck too.
Oh, well, perfect timing.
You're not normal. See, we've established that, so it's not normal to like Howard the Duck.
By the way, if you can hear me, William has a Patreon now. If you get on there by Wednesday, he's going to do a live stream of Howard the Duck.
There you go. Yeah, so no, Howard the Duck was offensive on levels that Thor Ragnarok was just a disappointment and a waste of time. Yeah. Yeah, I'm live. Go ahead, say what you're going to say. It's not any weirder that's what's on here.
What you call Big Trouble in Little China. It is so bad and campy, it's great.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no trash talk at Big Trouble in Little China, man.
Oh, it's like, do not come out no more. What? No, come out no more. I mean, it's just so horribly campy. It's great.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the jokes in there would they would get people canceled today. So it's that right there would have gotten them canceled today. But back then it was the people just didn't care.
But Howard the Duck is such a train wreck that it's entertaining.
I didn't even find it entertaining. I just think it's
a train wreck.
I wanted off that train. I'm like, where the fuck is this train going? I need to get off, and I never need to get back on again.
Somebody had to green light.
That's the story we're always talking about. Those
go
find those people.
Pull up the Howard the Duck Wikipedia. Yeah. It's such a great read.
Ended with that movie. You got a better chance of digging up Hoffa than you ever do of finding the two men, and they beat the hell out of each other so that one of them didn't want. No one wanted to take the blame. They fought each other physically over who was going to take the blame over that movie being greenlit. Careers, leave the list of names. You will never see those names again. And the people who are still with Lucasfilm do not talk about that. You go up and ask, like we already say, go up and ask George Lucas, hey, what about Howard the Duck? You're going to get thrown out of whatever building you're at.
It's not looking so good, man.
Yeah, but he does magic, so it won't be as expensive.
What's
I mean, so we can go about it different ways. I don't know how. Between you and I, we've saved you a fortune.
God, I feel like this is a prelude to the Howard the Duck stream. And by the way, William, since to add on to this, Azteca is clearly trying to push your buttons here by saying Howard the Duck is more entertaining than the Batman. Batman Begins is still the best solo Batman film to date. I said what I said. Vince says, I got to start making some Howard the Duck vertical shorts of the channel. Don't torture yourself, dude. Oh, yeah, William had to step away there. I was probably having a bit of a Howard the Duck discussion here, so I'm going to go back through some of the comments here. And some of you guys I saw were asking about some of my opinions on different spoofs. Let me go back up to the top here. Shaun, Daniel, Shaun of the Dead, that's a good one, because again, it's what I'm saying. It's like it's a satire of zombie movies, but it's also an example of a zombie movie. When I consider Dodgeball, I've never actually seen Dodgeball, so I couldn't really tell you there, Anthony. Unfortunately, let's see what else we got. Vince says Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost make a great team. They do make a great team. They do a lot of great work together. Nick Frost, by the way, if you guys have never seen the show Into the Badlands, he is fantastic on that as the character Baji. That show got banned. That broke my heart when the show ended. I mean, that was like everything I love about like Hong Kong movies, because that's my jam. You probably read my writing, you'll know that. It's everything about Hong Kong action martial arts movies, and it was in serialized format, and it's just they had plans for one more season, just got cut short. But he's fantastic on that as Baji. So if you haven't seen Into the Badlands, definitely give that a look. I'd recommend. Let's see what else. Look at Hal Jordan. Looking forward to the creator. I'm looking forward to the creator too. I'm looking forward to the creator because it's relevant to the current debates on AI, obviously, but also it's like it looks like it's going to be like the war against machines in the future. Kind of that we didn't really get out of the Terminator series, because Terminator Salvation. I really felt that kind of dropped the ball, as that's my least favorite Terminator movie. So I feel like that's really going to deliver the war against the machines, that post-apocalyptic future that we didn't really get from Terminator, unfortunately. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually going to see the Terminator tomorrow night. They, if anybody knows what flashback cinema is, where they rotate in different classics every week. They got the Terminator out, so I'm going to go check that out. It'll be the first time seeing it theatrically. We're looking forward to it. Larry also got my career thing. I'm really looking forward to Creator. Fourth Outlaw Johnny Black is not 10 years, but he's Mike. He's definitely speaking about it a lot. He's it's great to see him as an emerging filmmaker, because everybody knows him as for his abilities as a martial artist, and his work in action movies, and different superhero stuff he's done with Spawn and whatnot. But Mike is also he's taken on direct. As I said, I've interviewed Mike several times, and he's also a very talented screenwriter and director. So that's it's really great to see him as a filmmaker really on the come up. Get my cursor going here. Larry asks, do you guys remember Bunnicula? I bet Brad does. I do not. No, I don't think I've seen Bunnicula. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, Bunnicula. I'm assuming that's about vampire bunnies. I'm not. You have to fill me in on that one. Hal Jordan. I just remember watching Undercover. Yeah, Undercover Brother. That's not bad. Okay, you I'm sure had a very spirited Howard the Duck discussion. William, you're mute.
Howard the Duck would have been more favorable than the conversations that I'm having or might be having now. It might cost me a lot less. Holy shit. Okay. Well, what's up? What did I miss?
Well, I just went through a couple of the comments.
Oh, okay.
I hope no one died while you were off.
No, it just felt like it, but
you just died inside, maybe.
Commercial air conditioners, and like we were talking about this earlier this afternoon, running ACs, it sucks. But
no, that hasn't gone south. Is that going okay?
We're still discussing it. My options all suck.
Damn, man.
But one of them we're getting with the property management right now to see because certain things that are catastrophic are not required by me. So we're gonna make some phone calls. But okay, back to the show.
All right. So, oh, Rhea had to bring up Freddie got fingered too. In the what would you call Freddie got fingered? I call it a freaking horrible movie, is what I call it. I call it Tom. I call it Tom Green getting $10-20 million just fart around for 90 minutes. That's what I call it.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Freddie got fingered happened. That killed his career. Oh, okay. Come on.
All right. Let's get into things that make me happy because
Howard the Duck doesn't.
And air conditioner repair sure as hell doesn't.
Oh yeah.
All right. So let's go to our album.
We don't need no education.
Right. That's how I was bought into Pink Floyd's The Wall. There you go. There's the cover. There's a standard cover. There's been different covers, and once the movie came out, there was different covers beyond that because the movie is basically it's his entire soundtrack, but it came later. So yeah, this was Pink Floyd for me. This was definitive Pink Floyd for me. This was hold on. I see light bulbs above heads. Is this good news? Ah, great.
Oh, good news. Wonderful.
I need better news today. When I was a kid, like I said, first grade, this song was playing everywhere, and I didn't know what or who Pink Floyd was, but I knew this song. And then I actually saw the movie a few years later when it came out, and it was one of the most stunning things I'd ever seen. Roger Waters is a genius. I know he's got issues and ego stuff, and there's a whole thing breaking up Pink Floyd. But just based on his imagination alone, Pink Floyd's The Wall, to me, is the greatest Pink Floyd album.
Hell
it's
yeah.
the album I got introduced to Pink Floyd in. And we go on the album. And like I said, you watch the movie, it's all these songs that you hear on the album, and they were albums back then, they are articulated and visualized in some of the most stunning ways and symbolic ways, because his father was a World War I vet. And a lot of the war footage, a lot of the songs are about his father. I think his father was killed in World War I, Roger Waters. So let's go through it. And this is back when you had a lot of, this is a 4-side album. So you had In the Flesh, Thin Ice, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 1. That's the one that you, you hear Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2, The Happiest Days of Our Lives, Mother, Goodbye Blue Sky, Empty Spaces, Young Lust. One of My Turns, Don't Leave Me Now, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 3, Goodbye Cruel World, Hey You's my favorite track on this album. It was all just fantasies. Is Anybody Out There is my second favorite. For side 3 for me is the best one. Bring the Boys Back Home, that's about war. My third favorite Pink Floyd song of all time is Comfortably Numb. It's on this side. The Show Must Go On, In the Flesh, Run Like Hell, Waiting for the Worms, Stop, The Trail, and Outside the Wall. It's a very, very long album. It's 80 minutes and 42 seconds long, and you can buy it in, and like I said, back in those days, you bought it in deluxe editions and things like that. I didn't truly appreciate Pink Floyd's The Wall until I saw the movie, because it was almost like the sounds weren't enough to express what he was trying to tell me as a listener, especially as a 7-year-old. But for me, I'm a visual person. To see Pink Floyd's The Wall articulated in the way it is in this movie was great. Great for my mind, great for my development as a child. And I was a child listening to this type of music, and the lyrics didn't always speak to, like I said, for somebody of my age at the time, and this wasn't what was always on, these things were on MTV, but very sparingly. And like I said, it was such a visionary album that not everybody really made the connection to what he was telling you. And now when you watch and this is some of the inner work, inner cover work that they had. And a lot of the stories that he told, he used artwork on the inner cover. You didn't realize how truly this was a war story from his point of view as a relative of a combat veteran, a British combat veteran, until you see it, until you see the trenches, until you see the marching, until you see all this. To me, Pink Floyd the album and Pink Floyd the movie, the Wall of the album and the Wall of the movie, I cannot think of them as separate.
That's definitely. I don't think you're alone in that. Definitely.
Yeah, so I don't know if I can describe it any better than I can't play the music. Man, I wish I could play these songs without getting torn off the internet, because it's one thing to tell you what these songs mean to me, what I think they mean to society, but it's another thing for you guys to hear them. You guys can obviously go listen to them on your own. At the very least, I hope I'm sparking something that makes you go, if you've never even heard of Pink Floyd or you've never heard of their music. I hope what I'm telling you, at least give them a chance. Give them a song or two. Maybe that be maybe in the first in 100 listens to you.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon is the best Pink Floyd album, hands down. The Wall is the second. And like I said, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to have that order or different orders. I've listened to Dark Side of the Moon a bunch. I played it with Wizards of Oz because the whole Legends, the way that matches up. And like I said, a lot of it for me is going to be because that's the first Pink Floyd that I heard, and that was when my opinions about music were just starting to form. Like I said, I'm 6 years old when I'm hearing this, 7 years old when I'm hearing this, 9 years old when I'm seeing the movie. So my formative years are different than somebody who may have seen, older Pink Floyd album or had that, embrace that. And there's no wrong answer here. Dark Side of the Moon is considered one of the greatest albums ever made. And it is a great album. I just think from my point of view, The Wall is, to me, is an epic. And it's one of those albums that I listened to as a kid that formed, it's funny, and I'm going to try to explore this later on. The sounds I was hearing on the radio formed my visual expectations and outlook on everything else. What kind of music I was listening to formed my visual narrative of what I wanted to see in the entertainment that I wanted to see. I wanted to see the world how Pink Floyd's The Wall sounded. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's hard to articulate it. I wanted to see movies and read things and to be exposed to things that looked like The Wall sounded, that looked like Def Leppard's Pyromania is another one. When I hear albums like that, that's when I go to the movies, I'm visualizing their sounds upon these movies. That may sound weird, and when I watch this back again, that may sound weird.
No, I don't think it does at all. I'm kind of a similar way with music myself.
Yeah. And that's why when The Wall came out after that, it was everything that I thought it should be. Even if I didn't completely understand it because I was too young, that's what when I saw that, I'm like, these are the type of visions that I'm going through my head. And that's why soundtracks are so important to me, because when you're doing a soundtrack right and you're not just throwing together songs for a movie, you fit the movie. And not just a musical score, your lyrics and stuff fit the movie. Like we were talking last week with A Kind of Magic, how it basically is the de facto Highlander soundtrack. It's that way because Queen wrote that music for that story. Queen wrote Flash Gordon's music. He literally made a song about Flash Gordon. He made the music to fit that movie. And to where Pink Floyd's The Wall is the soundtrack that just didn't have a movie for me yet. Even with the movie that it has, it fits. There's a lot of times where I'm thinking when we're putting together stuff, when I'm wanting to, make stuff look a certain way around the store, I'm thinking of a certain album. I'm thinking of a certain video or a certain genre. And that's what this album, damn flies, that's what this album did for me. So, hey, teachers, dude, that was, I knew that before I knew the words Pink Floyd. That was a horrible movie. But yeah, that's what Pink Floyd meant to me. Like I said, Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, they almost made a Dune soundtrack. Trivia question for you there. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
The movie had me shook. The visual, yeah, and it's like I said, it is truly a war movie told from his point of view. Play Dark Side of the Moon, watch Wizard of Oz. Yes, after the Lion Roars, we've done drive-ins with that. We had that as a lead into our Rocky Horror Picture Show. As a matter of fact, hold on for a second. I think I still have the flyer and the magnet.
Let me see if I can answer a few things. William stepped off here. Rhea says, I feel a rant coming on. What's that? Is that related to Pink Floyd, Rhea? So you're going to type an obnoxious essay again. Yeah, I'm not fully clear. Does that relate to Pink Floyd? I mean, I might be missing a comment you left here.
I don't have it available, but I do have that thing. What's she asking?
Oh, Ray is talking about it. Okay, she left another one. Yeah, the movie leaves you to contemplate isolation that abundance has created, the existential dread, meaninglessness of existence leads to becoming detached from the world through gradual cognition of the horrors committed around you, leaving you immobilized.
Wow.
Yeah, well said.
Damn. There's there's one smoking a joint, another one with spots. If I had my way, they would all been all of them shot. Oh, yeah. That's excellent lyrics. Some mood enhancers are. I'm straight edge, so I don't do any mood enhancements, but like Starbucks. But to me, the mood enhancement was the music, you know. But everybody's got their. I
remember them also using another brick wall a little bit in the marketing for New Mutants. So do you think that meshes with the kind of the imagery of that with the lyrics of the songs? Do those mesh well?
Well, they did that because the lyrics of the song, teachers leave those kids alone, and they're in an institution where the teachers are doing dirty shit. So. Holy cow! Damn, Ray, this is deep.
Yeah, that was the one I just read off. Yeah,
this movie leaves you to contemplate the isolation that abundance has created, the existential dread and meaningless of existence leads. Holy mackerel! I'm ready for a cigarette now. To becoming detached from the world through gradual cognition of horrors committed around you, leaving you immobilized and desensitized. Yeah. Wow. I don't smoke, but I'm literally.
Yeah, she just wrote a little master's thesis and like a couple of comments there.
Trademark that. Yes, I don't have enough space to type my thoughts as much as I like. Yeah, that's damn. That you did it well. All right, music and film or Williams drugs. Yeah, that's it. I don't do drugs. I do caffeine.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah. I've never, like I said, I've never even tasted alcohol. People don't believe me, but I'm like, I don't know why you don't. I mean, do I look like somebody who would lie about that? What kind of street cred is that going to get me? No,
I don't drink either. I've never done drugs. I've never smoked a cigarette. Yeah.
Yeah, if it goes right, yeah. If it doesn't, it's going to destroy my mood. But I'm gonna put myself in a different spot. All right. So what else we got left? We covered Pink Floyd. So what else we got on my thumb?
I think the only one left was Ahsoka. There wasn't it?
Yeah. Are you watching this?
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I'm just getting started on it, but yeah, I'm enjoying it too. And it's like I didn't really get that into Rebels myself, but it's and my bar really for like modern Star Wars really has been The Mandalorian. So and I think Ahsoka is of the Disney Plus shows. That's probably jury's gonna be still out until we get through the whole season, but it's probably the one that I think is probably rising the closest to the standard of the Mandalorian set.
Yeah, because it's right in there. Like this, here's the girl that plays the character I have.
I mean, it helps that she was on the show too, and that Rosario Dawson was
she's
just born
to the Jedi,
and that Rosario Dawson was just born to play this character.
I mean, literally without But like I said, I understand that you have to have a lot of people. You got to have Rebels, and I get that. That's her. Man, I just want to choke this girl. Not physically, obviously, but she just plays that kind of character. Where I'm like, there's only two ways this can end for her. She's got to get cut in half by Ahsoka. Or Sabine, or she's got to turn. I mean, there can be no middle ground with her. She just has that look about her, and she's playing this role so well. What's her name? She's a Ukrainian. She also speaks about what's going on in Ukraine. Ivana Suckno. I think if I'm pronouncing Ivana, if you're watching the show, please chime in and let me know that you're. But I'm enjoying her. I'm enjoying Rest in Peace. It saddens me that I'm not going to get more Ray Stevens.
Yeah,
character in this,
that
he's
sucks.
great in this. I think this has been a great character-driven show, and I know a lot of people are dogging it. But like I said, this is coming from somebody who has zero use for Rebels or Clone Wars, and I'm getting some value out of this show. I mean, I'm all right with it, you know.
Well, and
this last episode was actually pretty good.
And Ahsoka's another one where it's like, okay, like show us your number. I mean, yeah, show us your numbers, or like show us the complete spectrum of your numbers. Disney Plus, like on all your other Star Wars shows, like, yeah, what info were we not being told? Because I mean, the narrative around the pilot was that the initial viewing wasn't that okay. The initial viewing wasn't. Yeah, show us the numbers.
Yeah. And like I said, right now they're going to tell me anything they want to tell me and instruct to say, "Oh, we're suffering. It's so bad. You evil writers, you evil actresses. How can you ask more of us? Look at Ahsoka." And I'm like, just shut up, all right. And even if nobody's watching it at midnight or whatever, or 9:00 when it comes on, or East Coast time, they are still watching it. You know, some people watch it days later, so it's just adding to their collection. Like I said, I think these guys are full of hot air. Hold on, I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, like I said, I can't overstate, like, just, and I'm probably, preaching the converted here for most people. It's like, I just can't overstate how just absolutely perfect Rosario Dawson was for Ahsoka. So absolutely flawed, perfect casting. I like her a lot as an actress in general. She's I really enjoyed her on all the Marvel Netflix shows, and yeah, like what else was she? I like her a lot. Like in things like The Rundown with The Rock and Sean Scott, and even like I hated Men in Black too. She's probably the best thing about that, I think. Let's see. Let me check out some of the questions in here. Yeah, Andor set the bar higher. Really, you think so? I don't know. It's like my bar for the Disney Star Wars era. It's like The Mandalorian. I mean, that's been where it's at for me. Vince says the story in Rebels is great if you can get past the animation style. I mean, Reyes says, for what it's worth, the wall wasn't as dour as I made it seem. It confronts the audience with the starkness of its message. We are told to carry on. There's agency in me to be found. Always. I mean, Rhea, you're just, you're just throwing you're doing like a TED Talk tonight on Pink Floyd. So next time we do a Patreon stream, I need to remind William to like bring up Pink Floyd again, because I'm sure you really like just throw some haikus at us on that. Yeah, Vince says, I love Rosario in the Askew. Yeah, she's yeah. Yeah, Daniel says, facts, Brad or Rosario Dawson, death proof, or yeah, she was great in that too. Yeah, I just like her a lot. I feel like she has a lot of talent. She brings a lot to everybody. But again, she was just so perfect for Ahsoka, and she's just delivering so well on it. Reyes says, I haven't caught up on Ahsoka yet, but I'll watch it once the season's done. Yeah, some people do that, and that's another thing about the conversation around streaming numbers is like how many people do that, where they'll do like they'll take it one episode at a time. I mean, like even with something like Daredevil, it's like I'm the kind of guy. It's like if they drop all the episodes at once, I like to take things in over like a longer period of time. So it's like Daredevil. I mean, that's my favorite Marvel Netflix show. But I mean, I took that in over like I would do like one episode nightly. It's like because I just like to kind of get the experience a little bit more elongated with with the whole season of a show. So, and that's what you're saying there. It's like how many people are doing that? Are they watching Ahsoka or other streaming shows weekly, or are they waiting for the season to end, just blasting through it once they do? And what measurement can you gain from the streaming traffic from that data? It's Strike's got to you got to open up those books for us, guys, because it's like we can't just keep taking the studios at their word on this. Vince says dropping all the episodes at once kills the conversation too. I don't know. It's like I've seen people argue both ways. It's like I don't really have a hard stance on that. So I think you could argue either way. Where there's pros and cons to both. When you're talking about like streaming show where they drop all 10 to 13 episodes, have people just go through it all over a weekend, have the totality of the reactions, and then or it's like let it kind of unfold. Yeah, you can argue either way. I think probably traffic wise, it probably benefits them to to stretch it out, but let's see. Rhea says I can get really Brad. I can get really worried on very specific. Hey, go for it. It's like that's what we like to do on these streams. We like people to just be an open book. So yeah, I could definitely get very worried on stream. I mean, it's like you saw me have my little rant there about modern parody movies just being like having like a batting average of like 0.0001. So, and I get worried on their topics that I do like, as everybody has seen with other things. But yeah, Rhea, please. It's like with those comments you left there, it's like I want to like next Patreon stream. It's like I want to hear you just go for it. I would just love to hear like Rhea just on a stream, just like give us like in real time like everything about Pink Floyd that you got. Vince says Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Hera and Ahsoka was in Death Proof. The result. Yeah, she was. Who was it that? Why is her name escaping me? It's the stunt woman that Tarantino has in a whole lot. Why? Because I know her. So why is her name escaping me all of a sudden? Let me pull that up. Because she is great in everything. She's a awesome martial artist. Love seeing her. Let me pull her up real quick. Zoe Bell, yeah, she's awesome. She delivers like the final spinning kick against Kurt Russell on that. If you guys haven't picked up yet, it's like I mean, martial arts, action, Hong Kong, MMA, ninja movies, things all under that umbrella. That's another topic I'm very, it's very much near and dear to my heart. I haven't gotten into it too much on the Sci-Fi Center. If you like read my writing on Kung Fu Kingdom or Screen Rant, you'll have to see a lot of that. And anytime you want to pick my brain on it, please, feel free. I can just go off. I could really just ask me about Enter the Dragon. I'd be about Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen, John Wick, all the Scott Adkins movies, Michael J. White. Feel free. I can just give you so much of. Is a geek topic for me, definitely. And I've been training for about 21 years, all told, in a whole bunch of different disciplines. So it's very centralized part of my life in both in both real life and in nerd shit. Spider-Man says 7285 says Daredevil is the best anything Marvel. Do you mean best like anything as far as like MCU? Because it's definitely up there for me. It's definitely. Of all the streaming shows, I mean, whether it's Netflix or Disney Plus, it's definitely my number one. It'll be interesting to see how Daredevil Born Again does with that. Defenders I also really dug. I enjoyed Punisher. Iron Fist didn't get off to the best start, obviously, but if you hated season one, watch season two. Season two completely makes up for season one. Season two of Iron Fist is fantastic. If that had been season one, the conversation would be very different about Iron Fist and his place in the MCU. I hope they bring all those guys back.
Okay, a little bit better news.
All right,
where are we at here?
Dropped a bunch of read a bunch of comments
from. All right.
Marin Tower, the raid. Those I'm gonna go ahead and answer that because bring that back up. Marin Tower, because those are that was I was with Iko Uwais, who's the Salat guy, the Salat dude from and he's actually going to be in the next Expendables.
Okay.
I love both of those. Marin Tao is fantastic, but the raid, I mean, that was the trendsetter. I mean, that's like, the raid it's one of those action movies where it's. I mean, you can't talk about it without having that in the conversation. So the raid, gets an image. And you also asked if I've ever done Jeet Kune Do. I have not done Jeet Kune Do formally. I've done a whole bunch of different martial arts disciplines, but Bruce Lee set it up as like
that's a Bruce Lee. Bro.
Yeah, well, even he set it up as like it's more like a mindset or more like a philosophical approach of like melding the best aspects of different fighting disciplines and creating what's most effective. So I've kind of in a manner of speaking, I've done it with how many different things I've been a part of. But
wow, that's something I learned something new. Oh my God, the spoof movie topics are very fun. Come here to these evergreen discussions. How do you watch
yeah, that's almost like you want to get me into Howard the Duck. If you want me to like have a William style Howard the Duck rant, you could definitely get me started on spoof movies.
Yeah, so you guys are talking about Netflix Marvel. And like I said,
yeah, I brought that up a little bit.
I got the Star Wars out the way because I really think she's great in it. I hope like I said,
she is so perfect for this role. I mean, it's like Rosario Dawson. I mean, she's kind of.
And so like I said, I want to see her fight Ahsoka, so I got her.
Yeah. I feel like they're leading to that.
Go ahead. All right, so we covered Death, we covered Sandman, we covered Ahsoka, we covered The Wall, we covered the Strike.
Yeah, that was like the first third of the show, and that was a lot of time. That was we went through a lot of the stuff, same stuff we said in the Patreon stream, and it still stands. It's like yeah.
The Strike literally adds an hour to the show each week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as we said earlier, it's like we can't not talk about it now. You can't do the stream without because it impacts everything we talk about.
Exactly. Now the Godzilla, we talked about that a little bit. But
we didn't get to Godzilla yet. That's the one topic because you forgot to put it in the thumbnail. And we got some Godzilla to talk. We got some awesome Godzilla to talk about.
Let's bring up I can't, like I said, I don't think I can show because they're not up for promotion yet. I know I'm going to be promoting I might be promoting the Apple one, and maybe depending on who distributes it here in America, who knows. Godzilla -1. This is coming out here soon. Man, I want to play this trailer so bad. Let's see. Man, has anybody? I wonder if anybody's been playing this trailer and not been thrown off the web. I probably should have just asked and be like, "Hey, let's see, it's playing at Cannes."
Are you talking about Godzilla -1?
Yeah, I'm trying to look for something I can put on here without getting.
We just got like just such a deluge of great Godzilla teeth the last week, and it is just in terms like from Japanese and from American, and they both looked so awesome.
Like the one where like I said, you just see the absolute carnage, and it's post World War II, so the people of Japan have already been through. Oh, hold on, I think I might have good news.
Okay,
hold on. What's the good news?
All right, so when we were doing Square Bar, we had a little thing going on with Gatsby, and they wanted a deal, so we gave them a deal. They said they were going to add us to their vendor list. So now we're going to fix up a quote for you. We're going to send it in to them that it needs a new AC. As soon as they approve it, we're probably just going to put it in.
Woohoo!
Okay, good news, it sounds like.
He said, I'm sure they'll cover it. He's going to talk to them. He has the lady's personal number. He's going to get in touch with them tomorrow.
I know that lady. Oh, do you think it will interfere in my my negotiations or separate?
I don't think it's gonna interfere.
Okay, cool. Because I got them. I maneuvered them right where I needed them to be. Okay, cool. All right, that's good news. That's good news. That's the best news I've had all day. All right. So who do I just wait for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just text me the address and the suite numbers, whatever it is.
Okay.
And give me all that info, and then I'll go from there.
All right, great, man. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's talk Godzilla.
Yeah.
Boy, I needed better news than I was getting. I'm gonna watch this stream and be like, when I was getting the bad news, you could tell. And I'm getting decent news, you could tell.
And then in the middle of that, you had the Howard the Duck debate.
Yeah, you guys don't understand. Like I said, we were talking just how hard it is to run a small business. This is why. Shit like this is why. Because your margins are so thin to begin with, and then you get just hit the nuts. So somebody walking up to you and say, "Here, let me see those nuts." Right in the sack. That's what it's like, because you're like, you're just navigating through, just like everybody else is, and they're driving their lives and their bills, and then you get this extraordinary shit that hits you, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. But good news. He's giving me good news. So, all right.
Fantastic there.
Yeah, this is the Godzilla from Godzilla -1. As you can see, it's a little bit of the older design. The spikes remind me of the Legendary version.
Yeah, me too.
But so it's not like they're competing. It's like Legendary's version looks awesome, and this version looks. Like I said, I'm more of a fan of the Legendary version than I am of this one. But I like this one. This one doesn't hurt the eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now the trailer. I wasn't fully what the trailer said. It's like hitting theaters in November. I wasn't fully clear. Is that just Japan? Is that also over here?
No, that's here. Because
that's here. Oh, awesome.
It's straight from Toho, but I think Toho has the distribution. Okay, so Monarch is the name of the other one. Monarch.
Yeah, and that's the Apple Plus spin-off series of Kurt Russell, and it's like I posted on my Twitter. It's like I don't have Apple Plus. It's like, oh, I guess I got to get Apple Plus now.
Oh, I got it. I got them all. Because like I said, I can't, especially doing this stuff, you got to be able to flip on. Man, damn it. There's the trailer. I really want to play this trailer. And I feel emboldened because of the fact that it's nearing the end of the stream, but those bitches will take everything down.
Yeah,
they'll take the whole damn stream down.
Guys, I remember we were really nervous when we did the Rebel Moon trailer breakdown because that was because we remembered when we covered the Tadum event and they just midstream just said nope. But we got through that fortunately. Yeah, because I was looking through Rebel Moon, like, hey, am I still in the air? And then finally, when I looked at the thing that because I looked at you can go into YouTube Studio and it shows you where they released it and where they're like the copyright user has released this for whatever because they wanted us to do it like Tadum. They didn't mean to do that. It was just they never fixed their algorithm because I won that copyright strike or that copyright claim. They just didn't. It took them forever to get around to giving it back to me. Yeah. But by that time I had already split up the streams and uploaded them and everything. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Yeah. And this thing that is happening where this is right the scene in the trailer where the kid or the person is hiding behind the ambulance and you just see Godzilla coming around. And Godzilla is like 10 feet away and roars. Yeah, and then here's the thing. I don't give a shit about human interest when it comes to monster movies. The humans are there to die. That's what humans are there. But when I saw the trailer for this and Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt and John Goodman, I'm actually interested in these humans beyond how they're going to die. And that's something new for me. So and this is not getting delayed. It's not going to be promoted, but I don't think, when you have a big name like Godzilla, maybe you don't need to. And this is out when is it supposed to be out in October or November? Hold on for a second. Let me dump the screen. Let me find out. I need to see the release dates for because Godzilla -1 that's in December. I think we're promoting both of these to the American distributor. Whatever American distributor distributes to Toho. All right, Godzilla -1 Sakichi Hamazaki. All right, Godzilla -1 is slated to premiere at the 36th Tokyo International Film Festival on November 1st, 2023, serving as the closing film. Toho is scheduled to release it theatrically in Japan on November 3rd to celebrate the franchise's 70th anniversary. Wow. Yeah. Toho's American subsidiary, Toho International, which means I could probably play that trailer, but I'm not going to push it, will later release it in the United States December 1st. Merry Christmas. So there's an American film company, but it's still Toho. So they're not, this is completely different from now Godzilla Monarch Legacy of Monsters. When does that come? That's a series. So we're all right. It's still done. It's still based, still Toho. Okay. The
The series stars Kurt Russell, the immortal non-aging Kurt Russell. Wyatt Russell who probably inherited those immortal genes. Kirstie Clemens, hey, from The Flash. Ben Watanabe, who's his roles in there. All right, Monarch: Legacy of the Monsters is scheduled to premiere on November 17th on Apple TV. We are going to have to set something up for that. We are going to. I know Vince. We could probably do it through Twitch like we've been doing through with Star Trek. So I really want to do get-togethers for that one. So, all right, guys, I think we've covered everything. Even things I probably didn't want to cover. Yeah. Including my nightmare situation that I've been living in for the last 10 days, as far as like the rain destroying my life, and then basically giving me this added bonus of shorting out the compressor. But damn flies. It looks like we'll have a good resolution of that. It's been a good solid show. You got any last thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably would circle back to what we were saying earlier about the strike, which is that because again, it impacts everything we're talking about, other than apparently, the Godzilla has forced me dodging that bullet. But yeah, it's I say it was, as I said earlier, it's like AMPTB. It's time to open the books. It's because this is like this game of chicken. It's like it's not benefiting. It's not benefiting you at this point. It absolutely isn't. And I mean, you keep saying the quiet part loud. You keep shooting yourselves in the foot, and this eventually, I think William is of the same mindset. It's you don't want this to get to the point where it's like you're going to have a federal mediator step in and say open the books, but that seems to be where we're headed.
Yeah, and that's the point where they're going to draw back and be like, okay, we'll give you a little bit more than you're asking for. This is fair enough. So, because they're not going to open up those books. So
I want that to happen though, because again, I want to see, once we crack that, open that Pandora's box. It's like, what game changer is that going to be? These
William, didn't you watch the Rebel? No, we watched it.
Yeah, we did a whole breakdown on that. Like I said, we were nervous that we were going to get taken down midstream, but yeah, we did like an hour on that, and it was like that was a great one to do because that trailer is so gorgeous.
Hold on for a second. You guys smell that?
Yeah.
No, smell it. Okay, I just want to, I'm paranoid when it comes to that stuff.
No, nothing's on right now.
Smells like boiling water or something. I'm not boiling any water, obviously.
Oh, Daniel asked. I guess we didn't get to this tonight. Maybe it'll have to be next week.
That's not me, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I guess Daniel pointed out. I guess we'll have to be next week because we can get this. And nothing about the Rotten Tomatoes controversy.
Oh yeah, I actually put that in the thing. Yeah, we'll talk about that right now. Big surprise.
Yeah,
big surprise. I told you in Cinema Score, and I'm not saying Cinema Score is part of all this, but listen, guys, the bottom line is this: it's your money. The day and era where you needed someone to advise you on how to spend your money, back in the Siskel and Ebert days, I don't think is there. And I hear a lot of people who try to defend, this whole industry, and they're always saying, well, if you're buying a car, wouldn't you want advice from people who knew cars? Yeah, because there's a lot of complex things about a car I don't know about. Same thing with a computer. But when it comes to what I like, there's no better expert of that than me. And so, no, I am not surprised at all that Rotten Tomatoes would be going through. I wouldn't be surprised if they were all. I'll be honest with you. I hate to be cynical. I would be surprised. It wouldn't be surprised if all of them were manipulated in some way.
I was surprised for it to kind of come out like this, for it to be like for it to come out like this kind of expose article that really just kind of came out of the blue. Because you get the sense that this might somewhat pertain to the strike. But I was a little bit surprised by the manner that it was, the revelation happening. But I mean, it definitely opens the floodgates to like, okay, what else relating to this don't we know?
Well, it's just the thing. It's because we as consumers allow ourselves to be manipulated. They are there because we allow them to be. We buy into Rotten Tomatoes. We buy into Cinema Score. There's no way in hell I'm gonna let a damn Cinema Score tell me what kind of movie I'm going to go see. Unless Cinema Score is sending me a Venmo payment, paying for that movie. And even then, if they tell me a movie that I don't that is in the genre, I don't care what their cinema score is. We put so many things in the laps of others, and it's your lap that the payment is going into. It's your time. It's your money. And if you're gonna use these things, use them in a context of, okay, that's just one person's opinion. There have been movies and careers and stuff that have been destroyed by this type of nonsense because their movies never got the momentum that they needed to get. Yeah. Because before the movie came out, some jackasses who have a totally different taste in movies than you do decided they're going to give it a crappy score on their whatever. And now, because we don't have the brain capacity to put that into context, a movie gets crapped on. And it happens immediately. Some of these movies I see with these crappy cinema scores, I end up seeing them and they're pretty damn good. And then I know a lot of people are like, wow, I wish I'd have seen this on the big screen. Well, you would have if you hadn't listened to some bonehead who goes and sees rom-coms and got forced to see a science fiction movie, and now you got his opinion, whatever that's worth. So, like I said, I know critics, I have friends that are critics, but I do not require the critic, the opinion of a critic to guide me. I think I've seen enough movies in my lifetime. I think we all know what we like. I think we all know who we like. I don't need someone else, opinion. Now, if it's an opinion of somebody who's a ride or die person with you and that goes to these movies with you and it's experienced your movie experience with you and has a good sense of what you might like, maybe you might listen to them because a lot of times you probably paying for each other's movies anyway. But if it's just some abstract person from some Connecticut that's telling me this was horrible, it was one-dimensional, guess what? Maybe I wasn't looking for The Godfather Part 2 when I went to go see that movie. Maybe I was just looking for hot chicks and stuff blowing up. Maybe that's what I needed at the end of the week. You know what? Maybe I wasn't looking for a complex, memento type movie where I'm walking out of the theater because the writer or the director didn't finish his movie. He just left it that way. And now I have to be the genius to figure out where the hell he was going. Maybe I wasn't in the mood for that today. And that's what Rotten Tomatoes and these aggregates, I think they favor these type of trends. And I think they're quite useless in many cases. So no, seeing this whole Rotten Tomatoes story didn't surprise me at all. I mean, I don't hate them. I don't hate critics. They don't have a place in my movie going experience. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, it's like my thing is like I just don't like the system that we're this system. I was like collect all the interviews and spit the the number out like a test score. And it's like, and that has shaped so many narratives, around whether what falls under arbitrarily good or bad. And it's like that's really it's had a very deleterious impact on film criticism and just talk about these things in general. I mean, case in point, BBS. Oh
man, who is Mike Ray? Damn it, Mike Ray, join the frat fund. We're edging ever so closer to watching this awful movie. Thank you for joining, Mikey Ray. It's appreciated. What your goal is getting me to watch Howard the Duck on a live stream is not admirable, but the support you're giving and Clint and everybody who's joined the Patreon, I really appreciate the like I said, the support. It does help. Like I said, I will stomach through Howard the Duck if I have to, but thank you for the support.
Well, I mean, it's like, I'm not sure whether to tell you to, do whether you drink or be sober for that. I mean, you can argue for either one.
No, I need to be sharp to tear that movie up. I need to be sharp to tear that movie up because the Ducks are coming. Okay, so you guys are going to bombard me with all your friends. Okay, fine. Fine. I can hang it. But yeah, I mean, Batman versus Superman is something I will never forgive Rotten Tomato. I won't forgive fans in general for the way they conducted themselves during that time period. I won't forgive the Rotten Tomatoes, any of the cinema scores, all the so-called analysts, the YouTube analysts that told me what a horrible movie it was, and consistently wanted to 70% drop. Guess what? That total dollar amount that Batman versus Superman, what did you think? You combine that with what all these movies that you've thrown out and the ether pulled out. Like I said, they would give both of their balls and the stem to get those numbers again.
Yeah.
Hell, Black Adam.
I'll see your second weekend drop, and I'll see your second weekend drop and raise you 7 years of chaos for your reaction to it.
Yeah, and that drives me crazy when I hear fanboys. Well, wow, it had a so-and-so drop. The end of the world is coming. The 4 horsemen are going to come out of the sky and wipe us all. Shut the hell up. These fools don't stop counting the money until the money stops coming. 70% drop, guess what? It ain't 100% drop. And you know what they're doing? They're not, they've left that table of money, right? They've moved over to a different table of money, especially these days. They've moved over to that streaming table. And they got that, or they're at the POVD table, and the other money's stacking up. And you know what other table? They got the streaming table. So they've left that table. Somebody else is counting that money for them. They've moved their attention to the other money. So, okay, 70% drop, woo. 63% drop, woo. When's it going on streaming? Now, box office fanboys like, it's horrible. No, they're not paying for anything. They don't have hundreds of millions of dollars invested of it. Their bonuses ain't dependent upon this. The guy who's counting the money and ultimately gets the lion's share of the money, look what he's doing. If you want to see where trends are going, look what that guy's doing. The guy that's robbing the bank, he's not robbing a 7-Eleven. He's robbing a bank. Why? Because he knows where the money is at. So, yeah. And like I said, these greedy people know where their money is and where they can skim and where they can scrape more than any YouTuber will ever understand. You know, especially when it comes to streaming, they want all the money. They're not going to come in and say, "Oh, wow, this is a failure." You're only finished cutting half the cash. Okay, we're going to sit back here and wait till we get it all. Especially on PVOD. You think the people who thought you think Turtles was a bust? Fuck no. They couldn't wait to get that on PVOD. That's the movie you sit your kids in front of in the family, and you don't pay the $125 with snacks and everything else. You go get that nasty Orber, whatever it is, over the wall corn or whatever it is, the cheap dollar stuff. You get the cheap dollar stuff, cola. You get the cheap burrito. You get the cheap stuff because you know why? Because your 6 or 7 year old, he ain't living that high life yet. He's okay with it. He's there with you. He's there with the wife. He's there with everybody. He's looking at it, and you guys are having this family experience. It doesn't matter that the fact you're not getting the $9 soda or the $3 Twix. It doesn't matter. The family experience, and you're now sitting in front of there with your family at an affordable rate watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's invaluable, and they know that. And if you multiply the households that are paying that $25 to $30, that's some good cash. Not only is it good cash, they're getting the lion's share of it, man. They're making out that they don't ever want those numbers to come out.
Yeah, but we do. But we do. We definitely do. And
we do. But
and SAG and WGA do. Deservedly so.
I want those numbers to come out because so they can stop lying about not just this but other things. Never going to come out. That's not going to be like the archives of the man in the grassy knoll. All the stuff that about the Kennedy assassination. Kennedy has been dead this year 60 years. What can you not release about that that's going to harm any? But they're sitting on that. That's going to be these numbers. These guys will be dead, and those numbers will be like, oh, can't talk about that. Change the subject. Yeah, because they know. They know. They know. All right.
Larry says duck, duck, goose. I mean, William.
Okay, listen. I hit this refresh button. You guys, damn it.
They're all fixated on the Howard the Duck situation.
Listen,
now.
If me watching this movie brings you joy enough to do this, fine. I'm there for it. Howard is looming, and then Larry's got like a legion of people apparently. You know, I'm surprised they don't message which Larry sent me. Listen, damn it. Hey.
You set up a real powder keg by making this pledge, William.
Because I didn't think we were going to active popcorn. Yeah, active popcorn's actually good, but like I said, if you're on the cheap, you know, you're trying to save money. You don't want to weaponize. And yeah, audiences weaponize it. Fan bases like the anti-Snyder. Like I said, we're the cult, right? We're the cult, or we're the people who are part of whatever. But the anti-Snyder people bring up some of the most boneheaded numbers to support their cause, and because there's no real numbers out there, we never really know. And just knowing raw numbers is meaningless. You got to know what those numbers mean to the consumer and they mean to the people putting the money on there. So, all right, Larry joins fourth in the trapdoor. Yeah, you guys are all going straight to hell. All right. Well, that's it. I think I covered everything. Now we covered things I forgot about. All right, guys. That's it. My closing comments are, commercial air conditions suck. One, especially if you have a business in the desert. And I'm going to close the way I opened. You know what time it is. You know it's the weekend. You know the holidays are coming up. You may be dealing with just inane stuff. Listening to me whine about having to prepare air conditioning, that's one thing, but that's not life or death. But little things can trigger you guys. Little things, just the little things like, may not be the biggest deal, can be the thing that, causes the avalanche to happen. And all of a sudden now, problems that are fixable seem like they're much larger than they really are. And who can tell you that they're handle, problems that you can handle and things that you can make through? The people at 988. You dial them, and trust me, they've been under the avalanche. They made it through enough to where they can answer your call and help you through it 24/7, call, text, or chat. Like I said, every time you guys even think about going down that dark place, think of this lame blue screen that I keep showing you over and over and over. I wanted to become as hypnotic and as subconscious as the thoughts that would cause you to harm yourself. So there we go. Brad, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero, occasionally also on Facebook, and you can also find my writing on Kung Fu Kingdom and on Screen Rant. You can see me here every Saturday night too.
And where can they find you after curfew?
Oh God.
Okay. Obviously, you guys know where to find me. Hit like and subscribe. Like I said, I really enjoy these Saturday night shows. Like I said, I don't mind the 3 hours I take out of what is a Saturday, and I'm open till literally I'm open till 10, but the open sign stays open till 12, and you never know what's going to happen. Come in. I enjoy the 3 hours you spend. I don't think it's a waste of time at all. I enjoy what I bring to you guys, so I'm really liking the way that how this stream is coming together. Some of the things I watch them over and over again to see where I can fix things, and some of the stuff that I thought I didn't want in the stream. Like customer interaction and disaster interaction, things like that. Hey, you know what? There's really no hiding that. This is the shit I go through, better for worse. Sometimes it's customers buying stuff. Sometimes it's people giving me a reality of, some really expensive crap that's going to happen. But it's part of the show. So, like I said, we covered all the bases. We gave you food for thought. Hopefully, any of these topics we talked about leads you to go explore any of them. Go explore some Pink Floyd if you haven't. Watch Ahsoka. I mean, it's a pretty decent show.
Yeah.
Definitely go diving into Neil Gaiman written stuff, especially Sandman. If you watched the show and haven't read the comic, go ahead and read it. I think you'll have an appreciation for one or the other. Whatever one you read first or watch first, you're going to have an appreciation for the other. What else? Try not to think about the strike. We'll do that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there'll definitely be an update next week.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes, same garbage. Listen, I thought Rotten Tomatoes was a waste of time before this. So in all fairness, I've been consistent. But until the next time I see you, which will be most likely tomorrow, thank you guys for all your contributions, whether it be joining this duck hunt that you're sending on, whether you donated or what I call it super chat, even though I'm not monetized, or super chatted to the Streamlabs Stream Elements thing. All those things help. All those things, who knows? They might even buy a damn air conditioner. No, they won't. But yeah, thank you for everything that you put into the show. You're part of the show. You put in the time, we'll put in the work, and we'll continue to do so. So for Brad, for Rhea, for everybody who made the Patreon stream today, thank you guys for being there too as well. Like I said, it's been I've been 5 hours of streaming so far. So, and like I said, it's gone by like that. So I'm gonna kill every one of these damn flies now that the show is over, and I will see you guys next time I am on your screen.
Till next week, guys.